All
All right,
right,
it's live.
all right, bam. We is live. We is live. Welcome to the Mr. Slave Show, where you never know what the topic of debate is going to be about. I'm your host, J Rock, aka Skinny Juan. And with that being said, I will pass the mic over to the star debater of the show. Take it away, Mr. Slave.
Thank you, J-Rock. Tell them the story that you just went to sleep and you you're going to be sleeping in the background. What's your decision?
Yeah, I'm not usually up this early because I work overnights and I'm sleeping at this point. But yes, but someone called me before Mr. Slave reached out to me, and yeah, so I'll listen as long as I can in the background, and we'll see if I don't fall asleep.
Well, hopefully, I'm able to put you to sleep because I speak very, gently. I'm very I speak very quietly and I try not to get emotional. And monotonically. So, do you think that's gonna help you fall asleep?
Probably.
That's good.
All right, one more thing before you get into the debate. I just wanted to make a suggestion. If you ever, because you said right now you can't find your mask, right?
I haven't looked for it. I might be able to find it.
Okay, in case you don't, if you ever want to get back on cam without showing your face, why don't you just point the camera to like your chest and below? Instead of pointing it to your face, just point the camera to your chest and below, and that's it.
You're talking about, a lot of people actually don't like camming up. Camming up is, and I prefer YouTube videos that don't cam up
Oh,
unless unless I'm used to seeing the person's face. But usually I prefer not to see their face because most people I don't need to see their face. There's nothing interesting about their face because I'd rather just listen. Anyway, I mostly just listen to YouTube. I don't watch YouTube.
oh, yeah. I didn't know you had YouTube as like your background noise without watching it.
Yeah, YouTube is definitely my favorite background noise, unquestionably. All right,
All right,
let's
I was
get
just
to it.
making a
Mm-hmm.
suggestion. All right, that's fine. I was just making a suggestion. But all right, take it away, Mr. Slave. Let's jump right into it.
All right. Thank you, J-Rock. Okay, so let's go to the Discord. The Discord. Let's see what's going on. Do we have anything interesting? Personal messages on the level. Oh, there we go. Yeah, maybe we should visit these guys again. Hello.
How is it that you know that?
Hello.
Hello.
Does anybody
Yeah, I
want to
think that
debate something? Oh, I'm sorry. Are you guys in the middle of something?
we're talking about knowledge.
Oh, that's good. I have debating or just talking.
No, just talking about the idea of how do you know what you think you know, or how can you know anything in the first place? And
Perfect.
yeah, some of these things. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely the most, I would say, the most important topic before any other topic. Yeah. So, what's your theory of knowledge?
Well, that sounded a little oxymoronic, theory of knowledge. I
Well,
don't know. It's a
mhm,
curious topic, isn't it?
definitely. I'll tell you, I mean, my theory of knowledge, I don't want to, I work in brain research, so I cannot disclose my research. So, I can't really answer the question honestly, but I can.
Oh, come on. You
Yeah.
can't answer the question honestly.
No, I cannot
Like,
give
what
you.
was the question?
No, I cannot give you an explanation of the mechanics of the brain of my brain theory. My brain theory is proprietary. I can't just disclose, NDAs and stuff. I can't disclose proprietary information. But
A brain theory.
yeah,
Sorry. Like,
right.
is it patented or something?
No, if it would be patented, then that's public knowledge. Then there's no.
So you've
problem.
got an NDA.
Yeah,
Who's made you do that?
That's part of the NDAs that I don't disclose any information about the NDA, so I
So
cannot.
it's not yours then. It's somebody else's because you've
I
had to sign the
cannot-
NDA.
I cannot
No,
discuss.
it's okay.
NDA just means
don't pretend it's
non-disclosure.
yours. Yeah, agreement.
Either way, I cannot disclose.
Who was the agreement with?
We didn't ask you to, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
No. I'm saying I'm just saying. I mean, this is precisely. Look. All I can tell you is that a theory of knowledge, in my opinion, is a theory of a brain theory, and
Biology?
it's actually neuroscience. So it's a separate field. It's adjacent to biology. It's built on biology, obviously, because a neuron is
Biophysics.
There's no physics. It's just it's just neuroscience. Neuroscience, you could say it's cell science. They study one cell type, the nerve cell. That's basically all.
Biology.
Yeah, they
Sounds
start
like biology.
right. In neuroscience, we start from cell science. We concentrate on the neuron because there's so much, a single neuron is so complex and there's so many types of neurons. And anyway, their interactivity between them is so complex that it's no single person probably on Earth knows everything about even all the neurons, maybe even about a single neuron. I don't think there is a person on Earth that knows everything about a single neuron. That's how complex a neuron, and the whole field is super, super complex.
Yeah, I don't think that has anything to do with the topic we're talking about. I think the topic we're talking about is much more to do with human behavior and philosophy, quite honestly.
Well, if you haven't studied neuroscience, trying to, if you don't study right, if you study neuroscience, you're actually studying the essence of intelligence.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. Every human being, right? This is what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Every human being, just in a normal course of conversation, might say the words, I know X.
Mm-hmm.
I know this.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the this is.
Mhm.
So the question is, how does one actually know that they know something?
So,
let me give you an example.
Mhm.
Okay, let's take this. We're not talking about neuroscience or brain theory or anything like that.
Mhm.
Here's a situation. Okay.
Mhm.
So have you ever been to France?
I cannot disclose personal information. Sorry.
Okay. Have you ever been to the Eiffel Tower?
I'd rather not say anything about that. Let's
Okay,
assume
so this is
whatever
going to be
you
a
want.
difficult.
No,
This
no,
is going to
whatever
be a
you-
difficult conversation then.
Whatever you
Okay,
want. I mean,
So it's hard to
assume
say
yes.
unless we can have a common thread of something.
Can you
right?
use a more common example? Like,
Let me ask it another way. Can you tell me a place or a thing that you have not been to? We'll ask it in a
I've
negative fashion.
Not been to Mars. Planet Mars is on my list, my to-do list, to visit list.
Great. The planet Mars. Now,
Mhm.
you know that the planet Mars exists?
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you stop? Okay, stop. Pretty much is not knowing. Would you agree with that?
No, I would disagree with that. There is no absolute. There's only always pretty much.
So you would say that you cannot know anything.
Not, no, I would say you can know almost everything, but there's if you define knowledge as not an absolute.
So
Like you cannot
knowledge, so knowing something, you can't. So again, you would say that you cannot know something with absolute certainty. You cannot
exactly
know anything with
right,
absolute certainty.
right. This is called the skeptic assumption. I'm always
Okay,
assuming. Mhm.
so you can't even know that you exist.
Exactly.
You can't know that you're actually wearing the clothes that you're wearing.
Well, that's for sure. But even my existence, I have to be skeptical about it. Even the
Okay, so you
existence
don't.
of the universe.
So again, hang on a second. Let's
Yes.
take this step by step.
Yes.
So you cannot know the clothes that you're wearing.
That's for sure, because we might be.
Okay.
I might be in the Matrix, and I might wake up naked. Mm-hmm.
So you cannot know that you might be drinking something when you're actually drinking something.
Exactly. If you saw the movie Matrix, then you know
Yeah,
that.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah, then I would say the topic that we're discussing is probably not going to hold much value for you, and we're not going to get much from you in that, because I think the supposition that we would make here is that there are things that are knowable and provable, but how can you know or prove anything? And of course, you would say, well, you can't on anything.
But then you're
Fair enough.
making. Yeah, but then you're making a supposition, which is an assumption, which is basically a lie. You're
Is
right.
it though? Is
Yes.
it though?
by
That depends on
definition.
that. This is philosophical. This is why I said it's
No.
philosophical, right?
No.
Sure
An
is,
assumption.
because it's your point of
No.
view. It's your point of view.
No. An assumption by definition is basically a lie.
It's
I would have to very much disagree.
absolutely.
An assumption, right? What is an assumption? Let's assume some hypothetical. So by definition,
Well,
we
you're
are
assuming
lying.
a hypothetical.
We're
What
lying
if it's
when
not a hypothetical?
But that is the definition of a supposition or an assumption
No,
or an
it's not.
axiom.
Here,
Yes.
let's. Do you know what an axiom is?
Yeah,
What is
these
an
are
axiom?
all the same. These are all types
No,
of.
no. I'm sorry, they're not. What is an axiom?
As far as I know, it's an assumption.
An axiom is an assumption.
As far as I know, you're welcome to.
Interesting.
As far as I know, yeah. Math is built on assumptions. Therefore, math is a lie. Absolutely.
How about geometry?
Same thing.
Okay.
The same thing for logic.
And how do we know that you're correct?
I mean, this is just definition.
Wait a minute. How do we know that your definition is correct?
No, we don't know. As I said, as I
So
proceeded.
you could be lying, yeah?
Well, of course, I could be lying, but
Oh, but you're not.
no. I mean,
How do we know that? Can we
Right.
know that? Can
No.
we know that?
We preceded this discussion that there is no absolute knowledge.
Okay. All right.
So-
So we can excuse your everything that you're saying right now.
No, because
Why?
there is practical and there is absolute. There is absolute and there is not absolute. So we already figured out that we have no access, that absolute knowledge is unknowable, but there is knowable knowledge that is not absolute. It's practical knowledge, right? I know that you exist for all for all practical purposes. You exist. Do you really?
How
exist?
can you know that?
I don't know. In the absolute sense, we preceded this entire discussion. We agreed there is no absolute knowledge. I might wake up from the Matrix and discover you do not actually exist. You were a dream, part of a dream.
I see. Would you exist?
Maybe not. Maybe I'm just a software, glitch or something.
Sounds very Descartes-ish.
Yeah, but that's exactly, I think, what Descartes meant. In the absolute sense, you have no knowledge. You have no absolute knowledge. That's exactly, I think, that is the Descartes realization. That is his realization. That he comes up with the axiom, with the assumption of existence. Well, let's just axiomatically claim I think, therefore I exist. That's it. It's an axiom. It's not it's a realization that you just start from an assumption. Let's assume I exist and get it, fine. But just keep in mind, it's an assumption. It might be false. That is my opinion.
Well, thanks for stopping by.
Hey, stop it. I'm a regular here. Bev, tell him.
Well, we were talking about knowledge.
I'll
And
be glad.
you've just said you can't. Yeah, no, you're out of it. You placed yourself outside of the conversation.
No, I did
You've
not.
placed yourself with there's no knowledge.
I did not say that.
Well, the conversation is, how do you gain knowledge?
I can explain to you the precise mechanism in the neuron, in the brain, how everything works.
But you can't. You said you're NDA, dude.
No, I said I could.
We're not interested.
You could be lying, right? You could be lying. We've already established that.
Hold on.
So you can't know what you know. You can't. You have to agree with that.
Hold on. That is my line of work. When I put down the microphone and I get back to work, that's exactly what I work on.
You cannot know what you know.
What?
You just admitted that.
What are you talking about?
Come on now.
What do you mean I cannot know what I know? I don't know what that means.
You cannot know what you know. You can't know anything about this brain theory that you're talking about. You can't know any of this.
Not in the absolute sense. We preceded the conversation. There is no absolute knowledge.
So again, right. So again, thanks for coming by. I mean, I don't know what else.
Because
do you have another topic?
Yeah,
because you said, am I interrupting a topic? We tried to bring you into the conversation, and we can't. So it's all right.
No,
it's all good.
Hold on. You're discussing practical knowledge. There is no absolute knowledge. There is practical knowledge, and that's what you're discussing.
No.
Yeah, and I have a lot to say about it. I cannot. I have a lot. I can, but I'm forbidden. I am forbidden from. But I can still participate very productively in such a discussion. You don't.
Oh, I don't think so. I think the people that you talk to would have to find value in what you're discussing and what you're conversing about. No.
Well, I barely had a chance to actually, discuss the mechanics.
We had a fine discussion. It's no problem. Don't take this as a slight. Don't take it personally, right? All I'm saying is, unless there's somebody else that wants to have a discussion with you about, there's no value that you can bring to this particular discussion that we're having.
Let me ask you. So what is your theory of knowledge? Or whatever. I mean, what is
it would be useless to have that conversation with you. So I'm not willing to engage on that.
What do you mean?
Because we just had one. Had one. We just had a conversation about that. So I find no value in discussing with you further on it. So, somebody else might. This is just me.
So you don't want to present. You don't want to present your current conclusions about knowledge?
There is no conclusions. It's just a discussion happening. We're just simple people, dude.
That's
We're not
fine.
Academics. We're not writing a thesis paper. So it's okay.
All right. Thank you.
You seem to be taking this very personally. You're welcome. It's all right. Come on back. See you.
Yeah, I'll be right back. Bye.
All right.
All right. I see Ganstar is visiting us. Oh, it's a long time ago. Is Ganstar still here? Slave, I called out Malik on a new video. I remember she wasn't nice to you before. Yeah, she was, very mean for no reason. But I thought a lot about this. I don't think it's a good idea I think YouTube doesn't like it when you attack other YouTubers. YouTube, we used to have debates on YouTube, and YouTube no longer likes it. There actually used to be a respond with a video button, a big video response button on YouTube, and then they took it away. J-Rock is asleep. That's funny. Anyway, so Ganstar, if you're still here, I did want to have a discussion with you because you are definitely fun and interesting to talk to. All right. I guess I'm gonna go back to. Why don't you next time you're around, knock on the door. Let me just type a message for you. Gant Star. Next time, please join. I will hear you joining. And we can have a nice discussion. I'm going back to dating on Discord now. All right. I guess J-Rock is sleeping. That's good. At least one accomplishment for the day. All right, let's get back to Discord. Let's see what's going on with Discord. So these guys are upset. I don't think there's, I don't know, they don't want to discuss things, especially knowledge. I love discussing knowledge, but they don't want to discuss knowledge. So there you go. Let's just maybe make a note that we discuss knowledge. Just making a note that until now we discussed knowledge with what's the name of their channel? Agents of Logos. What's the server's name? On the level. On the level server. There you go. Excellent. Let's get back to Discord. Wait, I don't know if I made sure we have good. Yeah, we seem to have good audio. Very nice audio. Let's get back to Discord. So we're 22 minutes in. We still have some time. Let's go to the next server. Politics and religion. Can apostolics and Protestants coexist? I don't know what that's about. Oh, but I guess that's what they're discussing. What about Todd did? Wait, does this guy want to talk? Hello. Do you want to talk? No. Sorry. Let's see, maybe these guys. No, I don't. Wait, okay, one second. Let's switch to these guys. Hello.
It's like that, you see.
I'm an eternal voice in your head, and you can't get me out.
Hi.
So now I can't hear him.
Oh, Taryn, he's muted you. Technically against server rules, but whatever. It's Angels. It happens.
No, I haven't muted him. I've turned him down, right, so that he doesn't rape me. And
Hey,
my
Angels.
mind.
Well, I mean,
Hey, how's it going?
since I've arrived, Taryn has been more coherent than you, Angels. I don't even agree with him. I didn't have a good interaction with him. No.
Here,
Hey.
suck that cock.
Hey, I'm sorry to
There you go.
interrupt. Does anybody want to debate anything?
Yes, but we won't be able to do
Oh,
it.
this
here.
Mr.
I'll
Slade
make a
with the
temporary
woman?
later or something. Well, you can.
No.
It's not going to happen here, though.
Okay.
But I'm up for that. Yeah.
So what was that, Paper Tiger? What's your?
Oh, they don't want to debate. They muted me. That's fine. Faith Talks. Zen Shapiro's here. That's good.
Food. He's doing everything according to those guidelines. The only thing he's not doing is the extra man-made pharisaical crap. So now you've got three distinct and unique groups. You've got the Judaism. Then now you have this group called Christians. And then you have this other group called Nazarenes. Now, the Judaism, we already know them. They've been in the picture a long time. The Christian.
Boring. Okay, I see TFM is streaming. Let's listen in. Maybe we can react to TFM live. That should be interesting. TFM. There it is, TFM mirror. Gotcha. Share this tab. Let's listen in.
The GDP appear positive, slightly. They could make it. The Dollhouse, Prepare Find Waifu and Waifu Accessories. We have the Way of Monkey book available on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, audiobook, Kindle version. We have Hardly Heroes by Shadowrun Comics, Dungeons & Dragons, independent comic book, no book is full. I'm hearing lots of good things. If you like, it's not a big, it's a course. Group Without Father, like I did, got the Gag You Never Had by Aaron Clary, use code Happy Monkey to save 10. So we'll jump into the first article headline, but we're going to use that to springboard to talk about a lot of different topics. So this is technically from Yahoo Finance, it's from Fortune.com. It doesn't matter. It's the same article, basically being cross-posted. The headline is BlackRock expects economy to flatline for a year before inflation returns in 2024. Get ready for a generational shift to full employment stagnation. And this is what I was talking about when I said stagflation. So, motherfucker.
So people are predicting stagflation. I don't see why you would expect stagflation. I mean, inflation has stopped, and why would you have a stagnant economy? I mean, the economy seems to be doing very well. So let me just downvote. Why would you? Yeah, people keep talking about this. There's like a recession. They keep talking about a recession. I kept saying I don't see any markers for an incoming recession. So I think, and unless you present the evidence, you're talking out of your poopy hole. So yeah, TFM is supposed to be this financial guru, but this is an example of him not understanding basic economics. To keep making predictions without giving reasons, that's just another word for lying. You cannot make predictions without evidence for the prediction. Why would you expect a flat line? I don't understand this.
It's like Pee-wee's Playhouse. Like, you just said the word of the day. Ah! And then the Mexicans are like, hey, hold on with the weed whacker. Wait for it. Just like, all right, thank you, Paco. You do good work. You're a thrifty and industrious people. Anyway, what can you do? This is every day. Every day we move for economy, and then you had inflation, and that caused the 1970s. So anyway, stagflation. In the 1970s, you had a negative economy, and then you had inflation, and that caused the 1970s stagflation.
So people keep referring to one-off events in economic history, and they build mountains of theory based on a single data point. That is very unscientific. What happened in the 1970s? Many things happened, and I guess maybe there was a recession, but it's very difficult to say what was the cause, what was the effect. But people say, oh, this, whatever. So because of similar markers in certain graphs, certain metrics, they expect a recession. That's not scientific.
Which was caused by Nixon closing the gold window, getting us off the gold standard, causing an energy crisis, starting a war in Vietnam against the Soviet Union. Let me know if any of this sounds familiar.
Because of a war in Vietnam, we had a recession? That doesn't make any sense. Because of the gold window, we had a recession? That might make sense because you destabilized. Yeah, anytime governments take actions that restrict something in the economy or make predictions in the economy difficult, yeah, people are going to be reluctant to invest, and that's going to slow down the economy, the growth. So yeah, so the change from gold to non-gold standard, yeah, that could have caused, I don't know if it did cause whatever, I don't know, but that certainly could cause. That's a major shift, and people had to wait and see, how is this going to affect us? For now, let's not do any investment. Let's hold on to our money, or I don't know, but certainly it made doing business more, I wouldn't say more difficult, but people restrained themselves because of fears. People were a little bit more afraid because you don't know what the future is going to hold, because who knows? So yeah, but how is this relevant to today?
So we're restarting the 1970s. Now, however, there's something changed. Well, a lot changed. Well, two things changed. Number one, we changed how the CPI is calculated a lot, basically cutting it in half. So whatever the government tells you what the CPI is, you could basically, this isn't 100% accurate, but as a rule of thumb, you can just double what the government tells you.
I mean, you can use the same CPI if you like it. I mean, as far as I know, the CPI, the government doesn't tell the BLS, the Bureau, S is statistics, Bureau of, I forgot what statistics, I think. So the government does, it's an independent body. It's like professors or, PhDs. I mean, these are researchers and they come up with a CPI. You don't like the CPI, use your own CPI. I think there's other measures of inflation. You don't have to use the CPI. If you don't like it, fine. You think that there is today more inflation than there was in the 1970s or whatever? Okay, so what?
The CPI is, and you'll more or less be
food and housing, which if you open up any news source in the country, it says that food and housing are under control. So without calculating food and housing into inflation, it's just a stupid inflation.
Well, no, they still calculate it with food inflation, but they have a secondary calculation called core inflation, which strips out food and energy.
Right, separate food inflation. Okay, whatever. I mean, I'm not well versed in the CPI at this point.
It's called headline inflation, still includes food and energy. So there's a headline number, which includes food and energy. Then there's the core number, which strips out food and energy. And then there's a super core, which strips out food, housing, and rents, which is supposed to be super duper whatever. Essentially, look, the government has a vested interest in.
How is this relevant to the government? What do you mean the government? I mean, when Trump was in, now Biden is in, the government keeps changing. And what? So Biden goes to the head of the BLS and tells him how to calculate the CPI? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's like it's academic. It's an academic organization. They just they do statistics. They don't have a vested interest either way.
Underreporting inflation. There's several reasons for this. Number one, the TIPS, the Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, are adjusted by the CPI. You have COLA, which are cost of living adjustments for Medicare and Social Security and all these other entitlement programs, which are adjusted by the CPI. So by understating the CPI, the government saves money. Basically, what inflation is a tax on everyone. Like people say, oh, the American taxpayer is paying for this. Most people don't pay taxes. Most people, they get all their money back in the form of the refund at the end of the year. They don't actually pay any form of net tax, especially when you factor in the welfare they receive. So a lot of them, they pay their taxes, they get their money.
Yeah, the inflation is a tax. How? But it's not the government that prints money. I mean, the government borrows money. So I don't know if it's a tax. I'd have to think about that.
Money back in addition to welfare. They're not paying shit. They're not in any form a net taxpayer in any form or fashion. However, that's right, Mexicans. Everyone pays the inflation tax. I'm getting like a whoop.
Okay. Everyone pays the inflation tax. That's incorrect. It's only people who have money that pay the inflation tax. People who don't have savings in cash don't pay the inflation tax. It's very few people, actually. I mean, the wealthy certainly don't have cash. They only have investments. Like Elon Musk is very poor on cash. So he doesn't pay the inflation tax. Who pays the inflation tax? I don't know if anyone pays the inflation tax. Again, unless you live on savings. I don't know how many Americans actually save. Very few. And it's probably the wealthier ones. It's not the poor. The poor don't have savings. So anyway, I'd have to reject this theory.
Whoop from the weed whackers. Like, can I get a whoop whoop? Yeah, it's like when you make a trucker, like, we pull the thing to make their horse laugh at it. I can't have anything nice in this cleansing breath. There's a whole fucking neighborhood. Okay, fucking Saturday Night Lives. We done? Are we done? So what's happening is the CPI is underreported, and
CPI is underreported. Whose interest is to underreport something? I don't. Why would they want to? I don't understand this. This is again more and more conspiracy theories. This is like nothing but conspiracy theories. I mean, you'd have to explain why would anyone want to underreport? This is the BLS. Why would the BLS want to underreport the CPI? What? It's a bunch of researchers, so they would call each other out. It just doesn't make any sense. Like every conspiracy theory, it breaks down very quickly. So anyway, nonsense.
Also, the way that unemployment is calculated has necessarily changed because of the welfare state. Back before.
Again, the way it's just more conspiracy theories. I mean, you'd have to explain who has to gain from this. I don't know anyone that gains from this. It's just different ways that academics want to measure things to get, different ways to measure the economy. I don't think there's anyone has an interest. There is no interest. I mean, certainly the academics, they're not investors. they're they're usually pretty poor. So I don't understand.
For welfare state, you just take the working age population and look at the people who weren't working, who should be working, and that's your unemployment rate. But once you have welfare, you can't do that because there's lots of people who just don't work because they sit on welfare all day, and so that's why they have this whole like discouraged workers thing and whatever. But the point is, at the end of the day, the government can make the GDP appear positive slightly, or they can make it appear flat. So you don't technically have a recession. You can keep on like we're at full employment. We're at full employment, and we're having positive GDP quarters. So there isn't going to be a recession, nor is there going to be an unemployment crisis. But that's based on the figures the government is giving us. If we calculated inflation the way they calculated it in the 70s, if we calculated unemployment the way they calculated it in the 70s, we would be in like full-on stagflation. But the government they've rigged the numbers so that it makes it.
So what are you saying? So right now we're in a recession? Okay, if your definition is that right now we're in a recession, then fine. Then if I agree to your definition, then yeah, we're in a recession. I wish this recession would last 1,000,000 years. It's the best recession ever. What are you talking about? I mean, everything is wonderful. So I don't understand the problem. What would you improve? I mean, of course, I mean there's plenty to improve, but relatively speaking, I mean, everything looks fine. I mean, the life is improving with every passing day for the average person. I would say even probably on Earth, but certainly in the United States. So what are you complaining about? The measure? I don't understand what it's like. Okay, so come up with your own. So he says, okay, let's use the old CPI and we'll see that right now we're in a recession. Okay, so what's the problem? You don't like this recession? Okay.
Economy look better than it is. It makes inflation look lower than it is. And so here's BlackRock, which is like deeply in bed with the government. Like BlackRock wouldn't say anything that the government didn't approve of.
BlackRock is deeply in bed with the government. I don't know what that means. Honestly, I don't know what it means. What do you mean? It's nothing but conspiracy theories. Everyone is in bed with everyone. This is this channel. This is this financial guru. Yeah, everybody's in bed. Okay, now that you know that everybody's in bed with everyone, so are you going to modify your investment portfolio based on that? I don't understand this guy.
So the BlackRock is warning everyone that inflation. Well, they're saying inflation is going to return in 2024. It's already returned. It didn't like go away. It's not going.
Oh, we have inflation right now? So we do? I thought inflation is basically back to normal, like 2%.
Away, like it never went away. And then the other thing is the year-over-year base effects. So you have they straight up left. Good. So everything's fine. Now we move forward professionally. Sorry about that again. Anyway, so when you have year-over-year comparisons, unless you have hyperbolic inflation, you're going to have up years and down years simply because of the nature of year-over-year comparisons. So if inflation was 10% last year, which it was 9.5 in June, that was the peak. Well, the next year, you're not going to stay at 9.5% because that would require.
Yeah, okay. So, the money supply was inflated relative to the goods supply. And yeah, so, but we could have deflation, but the government, the Fed might not want a deflation because, it might be that inflation and deflation they both have problems. Theoretically, the job of the Fed, the central bank, in controlling the money supply and interest rates, they're designed to stabilize the currency. That's their job. So they don't want deflation and they don't want inflation. But once we had inflation, they would want to bring it back to 2%. I don't think they would want to go to deflate. It's just, it's the same issue. No one likes surprises, and an unstable currency hurts the economy because no one likes surprises. People don't invest in an unknown future, and that's the reason no one likes inflation nor deflation. So, but okay, let's continue.
Require inflation to be 10% more than it was last year. So inflation has to go up exponentially for you to maintain double-digit year-over-year inflation. So what you'll have, you can see this, if you look at the 1970s, look at the CPI every year, and you'll see you'll have double-digit years, and then single-digit years, and then double-digit years, and then single-digit years. Was the Fed getting a hold of the inflation? Was the inflation going down? No. It was always simply a factor of year-over-year comparisons. That was all it was. Prices never went down. Prices steadily went up. And there was no, these weird kind of like, these sine wave patterns where it goes up and goes down. That's all statistical bullshit. That's just because the way the government calculates the CPIs year-over-year. If you have steady inflation.
Who cares? Why is this important?
it's going to look like inflation goes down, or what they call disinflation. It's all bullshit. It's all propaganda. Anyway, we are in
How is this propaganda? Who cares? Why is it important? I don't understand.
Inflation, in case you didn't know, in case you need me to tell you that. And here's BlackRock confirming it. But now we're not in real stagflation. We're in full employment stagnation with a manipulated CPI and a manipulated...
Oh, everything is manipulated. Okay. So everything is manipulated. So I don't know what to say. If everything is manipulated, so I don't know what to say. Honestly, this is just infinite conspiracy theories. That's this financial guru's conclusion.
Labor market. We're in stagflation, but the government isn't.
We're in stagflation. So we have inflation and a recession currently, concurrent, right now. And this is what you see right now. That's amazing. Okay. I honestly don't see it. I mean, as far as I can tell, the economy is very stable and inflation is basically back to normal. So I don't see the problem.
Going to admit that, not when they can manipulate the statistics. So that's
why would they want to manipulate? Who's gaining from this manipulation?
That's what we're dealing with. Now, I saw some numbers the other day, and I'm going to put some pieces together to explain things that you're probably not going to hear anywhere else. Because right now, the narrative is China's collapsing and everybody's gearing up for a big crash and a big recession. And they are fucking stupid.
I don't know if China's collapsing, but China is a dictatorship. So, very much, at the end of the day, similar to North Korea, and it's the same problem. I mean, the problem with dictatorships, it's the problem with central power. If the guy at the top either makes a mistake or wants to destroy the economy, there's nothing you can do about it. That's the advantage of the West. The West is more democratic. The economy is more democratic. So it's difficult for any one person to do real damage. So right now, Xi Jinping, the leader of China, seems to want a recession, to cause a recession in his country. He apparently doesn't like his people being rich, very much like North Korea. I mean, I think Xi Jinping came to the same conclusion that North Korea came to. So the leaders of North Korea, they decided that a poor populace is much more beneficial for the elites. Poor people are busy looking for food, very easy to manipulate. And rich people are impossible to manipulate. So which one would a dictator prefer? Of course, poor people, poor, hungry people is preferable for a dictator. So Xi Jinping is a dictator, and he has a preference to create poor, hungry Chinese. So maybe that's his conclusion, and that's where he's going. He wants to destroy the Chinese economy, wants to make the Chinese poorer and poorer. That is where the Chinese economy seems to be going. Whether he's doing this on purpose or not, my intuition is it's somewhat on purpose. So it's not that the Chinese economy is collapsing, it's that the Chinese economy is that Xi Jinping wants to make his people, his population, poorer. He doesn't like high living, what do you call it? Living conditions. He doesn't like it because, you saw it with Pao. What's his name? The guy that owns Alibaba. I mean, the guy was saying, oh, the government needs to give us more democracy. So Xi Jinping heard that and said, okay, no more rich Chinese. Rich Chinese are too dangerous for me, says Xi Jinping. Anyway, it's not a collapse. This is not a collapse. I don't see it. I don't define it as a collapse.
That's all propaganda. It's all fucking propaganda. It's what it is.
Who has this interest? What do you mean it's all propaganda? I can see it with my own eyes. What are you talking about propaganda?
Well, okay. I'm gonna peel back the curtain. I'm gonna tell you what the plan is. No one else is saying
there's a plan. This is just conspiracy theories. This guy's losing his mind.
This is just me. So when this happens, you know where you heard it from. So here's the plan. Inflation is going back up. They straight up lied about the inflation this month.
What do you mean inflation is going back up? Why would inflation go back up? I mean, you have to give a reason. Show me the mechanics.
Without base effects, inflation went from 3% to 3.2%. That is bullshit. There's no fucking way that in the absence of base effects, inflation only went up 0.2%. But that's what they're saying. So I'm like, okay, we're playing that game. Fine. They know inflation is going
Jesus Christ.
to rip. They know it. They need to create a scapegoat. with the BRICS meeting in less than 2 weeks, they are trying to shift from the U.S. economy is headed for recession, everybody sell oil, sell your commodities, to the Chinese economy is headed for recession, everybody sell oil and sell commodities. And they're.
But who's they? Who's doing this? Who's manipulating what the reporting? I mean, the whole planet is being manipulated by this cabal of whoever. This is ridiculous. Nothing but conspiracy theories.
Trying to say that, like, the Fed did it, we defeated inflation, so that when BRICS meets and they announce their new, they're not like, what do you call it? It's basically Bretton Woods 2.0, but it's backed by gold. But it's not just going to be one country. Like in Bretton Woods, it was just America that was backed by gold, but the rest of the world was pegged to the dollar. With BRICS, it's not going to be one country. It's going to be several countries, but they're all going to be redeemable for gold among themselves. They're basically recreating the IMF and the World Bank. They're creating like their own block of countries, and they're going to replicate the American controlled system, but it's going to be shared among them, and they have all the commodities. It's going to be really bad for the West. There's no way out of this.
It's going to be bad for the West. Like there's going to be okay. Let me understand. So there's an incoming stable currency that's going to be bad for the West. How is an incoming stable currency going to be bad for the West? Why would it be bad for the West? Even if it replaces the dollar, okay, so everyone is going to switch to the dollar. How is this bad for the West? It just means doing business is going to be easier, right? It's going to be right, because usually one of the problems with doing business, with investment, is predicting the future, and a stable currency helps you predict the future. So you're saying there's an incoming stable currency. By the way, the US dollar is going to have to compete with this stable currency, so it's going to drive the US dollar to become more stable. But let's ignore that. So everybody's going to switch to this new stable currency, and that's going to hurt who? It's going to hurt me, because there's going to be a stable currency available for me, let's say, to invest in and to predict the future by, and to use to buy and sell and to trade. How is this going to hurt me? That doesn't make any sense. It's going to help me. It's going to help everyone. Who's it going to hurt? I don't see who's going to be hurt by something good happening on the planet that's available for everyone. Unless, what, you're going to tell me what? I'm going to be restricted? I'm not going to be able to use the BRICS currency? Why not? How could they stop me? If they can stop me, so that's not good. That's not a good currency. The power of the dollar is that everyone can use it. Basically, that's the power. So I guess everyone is going to be able to use this BRICS currency. So what is the problem with this BRICS currency? I don't understand.
And we're just doubling down. We're trying to buy off India. Like that's gonna fucking matter. Like, oh boy, we get our curry nice and cheap from India. Like that's gonna fucking make a difference when we're pissing off the world's energy exporters. Anyway, they're gonna blame the resurgent inflation on BRICS, specifically China and Russia, and they're gonna say,
I mean, well, it certainly could cause an inflation if everyone switches to holding BRICS currency instead of US dollar. Yeah, the US dollar is going to come back to the US and will cause inflation. That's true. So what's the problem with inflation? The problem with inflation is if you have cash. All right, so everyone that has cash loses out. All right, so you win some, you lose some. Well, so is there going to be one less cucumber in the universe because there's going to be inflation? No. So what's the problem again?
It's not us, it's China and Russia. They're declaring this is economic war against us. They're trying to manipulate the energy markets. It was actually the United States which has been manipulating the energy markets since.
What's this endless everything is manipulated. Everything is manipulated. I don't, how can you live your life if you believe that everything is so manipulated?
December of 2022, which is why OPEC is joining BRICS. We basically fucked over these countries' entire economies by manipulating the energy market. They told us to stop.
What do you mean manipulating the energy markets? How, who, what? Could you explain exactly what's going on? What do you mean manipulate? Did I manipulate the energy market? How did I manipulate the energy? How did I manipulate the energy market? What did I do? What do you want from me? Because I'm the U.S. You're the U.S. How did we manipulate the energy market? What are you talking about? I don't understand this guy. A financial guru. He understands economics. I don't understand this guy.
They've been cutting production. OPEC has cut production so much that they haven't cut production this much since the COVID lockdowns. The COVID lockdowns. Demand is going up. Demand is at global all-time highs. OPEC is cutting production down to COVID lockdown levels, and prices are still basically flat. They're in like the mid-80s.
Okay, so prices are flat, so you have to explain it. You have to explain it. What do you want from me? Maybe energy production is more efficient, maybe production is more efficient, maybe you have to explain it. You have to look at the statistics, you have to look at the numbers, make sense of them. But how I mean, what else are you saying? Well, I don't understand your theory. What, Biden is somehow manipulating the energy prices, the oil prices? What? How can he do it? I don't understand this.
Because of the manipulation. Because the government keeps like stoking using propaganda and having the EIA distribute.
Propaganda? I haven't heard Biden speak. No one speaks. The government doesn't say anything. What propaganda? What are you talking about? Propaganda? This government is silent. This government, I haven't heard anything from it.
They have lied to people and again spreading propaganda or just fabricating reports.
Fabricating? Who? What reports? What are you talking about? Could you please be specific? I can't even debunk this guy. It's like he's throwing everything, and the kitchen sink. I don't know what do you? I cannot debunk you because show me your data. What are you based on in your claim that there is propaganda, manipulation, and that I don't know. I just don't know.
About how demand is down, supply is up. We're, even though we're down almost 100 rigs since last year, apparently we're producing more oil than ever. But then when people point out, no, we're not. Like, shut up. Yes, we are. The EIA says so. Yeah, that's just the government lying. Like, just like the government lies about everything. Shut up. Why are you a puppet of Putin? Anyway, so that's what's.
What are you who's telling you to shut up? What are you talking about? You can speak here. Am I telling you to shut up? I'm not telling you to shut up. Is anyone telling you to shut up? You can speak your mind as much as you want. I'm asking you. What do you? I think you're saying makes zero sense. That's me. I'm a private citizen, but I think you make zero sense.
Going on. They're going to blame Russia and China, and they're going to use this as an excuse to basically not. I don't want to say. My mind wants to say declare war, but I don't want to insinuate that we're going to start dropping bombs on China and Russia. We're going to continue to aggress upon them, and I don't know what we're on. We've gone far past doubling and tripling down.
We're going to aggress on Russia and China? We've been aggressing on Russia and China? How? We aggressed on Russia? How did we aggress on Russia? Where? What are you talking about? Putin has these weird aspirations. I mean, weird. I mean, he wants, he wants to conquer and wants to expand, and destabilize. That's him. Where the West is, defending itself against him. How are we're the aggressors? And how did we aggress against China again? We have anything to do with China? What are you talking about?
We might be coupling down.
This guy, for him, this is like something that I noticed with libertarians, and this guy is somewhat of a libertarian. They hate the West. It's like, why do you hate the West so much? I understand the problem. There's plenty of problems with the West, but this makes no sense. Your analysis here makes no sense. The West is I'm aggressing against Russia and China? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? These are two dictatorships that are aggressing against their actually, I don't know if Putin is the dictatorship. I mean, Xi Jinping is certainly a dictatorship. Putin, I guess, is very popular. I don't know. Is he? I mean, maybe he manipulates the statistics. That makes a little bit more sense. But even that, I'm not sure. I mean, people like dictators. I wouldn't be surprised if Putin is actually very popular. But these are central authoritarians, whether it's democratic or not. So these are not good things. The fact is, you're not moving to China nor Russia. If they were so terrific, if they were better than the US, you would move there. Why aren't you moving? You don't consider moving to Russia or China. Why not? I don't understand this. It's not the language. It's not like he said it's the language. He's just he doesn't feel he would improve his condition. So why do you want anyway? Okay, let's continue.
On Ukraine, we're also I heard that we're going to be putting NATO forces in Finland along the Russian border. Finland is not a NATO country, but we're individually.
I think it is now.
No, it's not.
Or they're being fast tracked into it.
They're not. Like they're maybe they're in fast track. I don't know. Like they're talking about.
Yeah, Finland has been a member of NATO since April 4th, 2023.
Okay, all right. Well, then, so they're putting NATO forces on the Russian border there. They're talking about seizing the western.
What do you want? I mean, Putin has demonstrated his intent, so you don't want us to build up our defenses? But you want him to just walk into more countries?
Part of Ukraine and just making it part of NATO. So just like breaking up Ukraine into two countries, the part that Russia controls and then the rest of Ukraine, and then putting it part of NATO and just start moving nukes into it. It's really kind of almost funny that like as America and NATO lose, they just keep doubling down. They're like, oh, you're winning, huh? We'll show you. Oh, they're also giving cruise missiles to the Ukraine, which will be able to hit Moscow. And Ukraine's they've been sending drone attacks into Moscow. So it's like, okay, they've shown that they're willing to attack Moscow with drones, and now you're going to give them cruise missiles. And Russia said, like, if you attack Moscow, we're going to nuke everyone. We're going to nuke you. We're going to nuke the person who gave them the weapon. Like, you can't just nuke Ukraine. You got to because at this point, the West knows Ukraine's going to hit Moscow. I think John Bolton the other day in the Wall Street Journal issued an opinion piece saying that Putin's bluffing. He's not going to nuke us. We need to strike Moscow. Strike Moscow. Putin won't do shit. He's not going to nuke us. We need to stop listening to his. Just in case you didn't know, if you thought America had this all wrapped up and we were going to, this is it. This is the final war. And they're trying to. The only plan that the West realistically has to win, the only path to victory, is to keep doubling down, bring us to the edge of nuclear war, and hope that Putin just surrenders and gives the West an undeserved win for the sake of humanity. Just let America and the West rule the world. Otherwise,
what's the alternative? But you want us to just surrender to Putin because he might strike us with nuclear weapons? I don't understand. I don't understand. What do you want us to do? Just surrender because he's bullying us? That's your philosophy?
World War III happens and we all die, and that's what the West is basically playing chicken with Putin, saying we're going.
What's the alternative? What do you want to play with him? You tell me the alternative. I'm curious.
Keep escalating. We're going to keep pushing for World War III, and if you don't want nuclear war, you have to let us win. But unfortunately,
but that's exactly what he's saying. I mean, this is it's mutual, as they say.
For the West, BRICS, and Russia and China, all these countries, they have all the real wealth. Like what does America have? We have financial instruments. Everything we have.
They have the real wealth because they have things. But we have brains, like we have freedom, and we actually create things. We actually innovate. I mean, the heart of innovation on the planet is basically Silicon Valley for tech, and New York for finance, pretty much. So, I mean, what's more important? That or actual, raw materials, fine, they have raw materials. Okay. That's not, I don't think that's worth a lot. I mean, the fact of the matter is you prefer to live in the US. So our standard of living is, as far as you're concerned, is the highest. So if raw materials were so important, you would move to where there's the most raw materials. So why aren't you moving to those places? The answer is because their quality of life is not the highest. That's the end of that.
That we rule the world with is all artificial.
Completely fake and gay.
We rule the world artificially? Okay. But how can you say that? How can you say that? I mean, the U.S. military is huge and strong and advanced. So that's nothing? Like, I don't understand. This guy hates the U.S. so much. He just hates the West. And it distorts his perception of reality. That's the way I see it.
It's very well, you can put it that way. America controls the monetary system. They control the world reserve currency. They control the global commodities markets. They control things like technology patents and whatever. All of these are legal constructs. There is nothing stopping the rest of the world from just not playing that game anymore.
Fine. Why would they want to stop? What do you mean playing a game? I don't understand this. Are you playing a game? Am I playing a game? Who's playing a game? What are you talking about game? It's called life. We live. Some people have raw materials, so they dig them up and they sell them to the people that take the raw materials and make things of them, out of them, and so on. It's just trade. And this is the world economy. It's not why are you calling this a game?
According to the dollar milkshake theory from Brent Johnson, as the world tries to de-dollarize, that's going to create more demand for dollars. The idea being that countries that want to get rid of their dollar-denominated debt will scramble for dollars to pay off their debt, and that'll create more demand for dollars and cause the dollar to surge. It's like, or they could just tell America, we're not paying you, go fuck yourself. This debt that we owe you, I'm going to wipe my fucking ass with it and fling it at you. What are you going to do about it? Sanction me? Go for it. No one fucking cares.
No one cares? So you don't care about being sanctioned by the United States? Okay, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, why would you scramble to pay your debts to the United States? It's not like the United States is going to pay their debts to you. I mean, look what they seized.
So if you have a debt, you don't care? I don't understand this. I mean, every country wants to be part of the world economy. It's, you improve your quality. Look at North Korea. No trade with the rest of the world, lowest quality of life. And I don't know who has the most trade. I would assume. I mean, it's probably correlated, right? The more you can buy from different places in the world, you can buy the best product. So that's where the highest quality of life is. Anyway,
Russia's foreign reserves because they didn't like what they were doing, like defending themselves against NATO aggression. So, like, what are they going to do? In fact, you might. Some countries who want to continue this with the United States might scramble for dollars to pay off their debts. But then America could sanction them anyway because they're doing something that hurts them in the long term. Everything's predicated. This Western-centric mindset that America can't lose and everything's ultimately going to go our way and we're going to come out on top and the dollar is.
What are you talking about? I mean, how do you want to live your life? You want to live your life assuming you're going to lose? I don't understand how you can live your life like this.
Safe in the world reserve currency forever. That is such delusional bullshit. And I know, like, it hasn't happened in your lifetime, therefore it can never happen. But I mean, World War II was.
What do you want us to do? What do you propose? Surrender to Putin and to Xi Jinping? Sounds like that's what you're recommending to us.
The end of the British Empire. It wasn't the end of Britain as a country, but they couldn't hold their empire together after World War II. World War II bankrupted them, and all of a sudden, all the countries they controlled started rebelling and overthrowing their rule and declaring independence. That was the end of the British Empire, just like that. And it happened because the country was bankrupt. They lost the war and they bankrupted themselves. Well,
they lost the war and they bankrupted themselves. I don't think. Who lost the war? Britain lost the war? Which war? What are you talking about?
What do you think's happening right now? We're fighting these wars with printed money. We're basically double dog daring the world.
We're fighting this war with the U.S. government. It doesn't print money; it borrows money. So, but inflation is under control. Oh, so you think there is inflation? Okay, I don't know what to say to this guy.
To de-dollarize. Try saying that 3 times fast. And that's why it's happening. Like, the rest of the world doesn't want to dump the dollar. They recognize this is a complicated system, but they don't see any other choice. America is basically, by printing all this money.
Are you dumping the dollar? Who's dumping the dollar? What are you talking about?
And raising interest rates.
And let's say everyone dumps the dollar. So what? So it's going to cause inflation. So what? Who cares? Who cares if there's going to be inflation? Oh, the people that have a lot of money. Oh, the rich, the super rich, whatever. I don't know. Okay, fine. So they're going to lose out, So you win some, you lose some. Is there going to be one less cucumber in the universe because of that? No. So what's the problem again?
Which doesn't affect inflation. This whole, it was the Phillips curve, which I've talked about the other week, where its unemployment is linked to inflation. That's bullshit. The Phillips curve is bullshit.
People are, when they say inflation, I think they associate inflation with other things that statistically come with inflation. And maybe that's why people are so afraid of inflation. Inflation is not good if it surprises you. So it's not good to be surprised if you're holding cash and suddenly you have inflation. So yeah, suddenly your money's worth less. That's not fun. So again, it destabilizes the economy. But inflation mechanically doesn't inherently hurt the economy, except for, just like deflation, except for it destabilizes the economy. It makes predicting the future more difficult. Therefore, people are more reluctant to invest. Therefore, the economy becomes more stagnant. Yeah, that's the problem with inflation. But if we can tell that the dollar is being dropped and we know the reason, then it's predictable. Then it would very little influence the economy. Just like this inflation we just had. We just went through a terrible inflation since Trump left office, basically. Okay, so we had a terrible wave of inflation. Did it influence the economy? No. I didn't see it influencing the economy, and I don't see how it could influence the economy. How could... Let me just make sure that that my audio is good. Yeah. I don't see the mechanics by which inflation influences the economy. I'm sorry. You're welcome to explain it to me. I think it's not a logical fallacy. I think it's an economics fallacy. Inflation does not. I don't even think we had inflation because I'm not sure we actually, because if we actually just increased the money supply, then all prices should have risen simultaneously. But that's not what happened. Only certain prices rose. And like, I don't think salaries went up on average. Certain commodities went up, but not all. So I'm not sure that's inflation. We had shortages because of COVID and stuff, probably. Maybe a little bit because of the increase in the money supply. I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. But did the inflation have an impact on the economy, on the average quality of life of the American? No. As far as I know, there was no impact. There was no impact on the economy. There's no less cucumbers in the world because of the inflation, and I don't see how there could be. So that's my opinion.
But it's Keynesian bullshit, so everybody believes it. But they, according to them,
I don't even know what Keynesianism is. I still haven't figured it out. I don't care. I just, as they say, I just use logic. So I'm questioning everything you're saying without being so-called. I don't know. I honestly don't know what a Keynesian is. I have. You can accuse me of being anything, but you just need to answer my questions. I'm showing you how everything you're saying is incorrect.
The way you fight inflation is by raising unemployment. But the problem is, if we allow a recession to happen, it's going to cause a recession, a crash that makes 2008 look like nothing. And they know that, which is why. Actually, Halsey, let me see if you know this. Let me give you a little pop quiz.
Go for it.
All right. How much money do you think we printed to bail out the banks this year, as per the Fed's discount window bailout facility? Just ballpark it. Round to the nearest $1 trillion.
I mean, I think it's a trick question because the answer is 0. But I mean, I would say on paper, probably around 13.
No, it's over 5. It's over 5 trillion this year so far. That's just from Silicon Valley Bank to the present day. This isn't like some going back 100 years. Just this year, as the bank started failing, Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic, Signature Bank, we've spent over $5 trillion bailing out the banks. Now,
we also give them a liquidity credit card that triples whatever we already given them.
Well, yes, they still have a 0% reserve requirement, so they can just send all that. Okay, let me explain how the system works and why this is so inflationary. It's ridiculous. So, according to regular debt monetization, the Fed prints money. The Fed buys U.S. bonds with that printed money. The government gets the money from the Fed and spends it in the real economy on government services, and that's what causes inflation. Is the Fed printing money from nothing, buying bonds from the government, which the government uses to spend in the real economy? What the Fed has done now is it's a four-step process. The government forced banks.
Wait a minute. So I see we have Javier in the comment section. So Javier says, Mr. Slave, you are, how do you say, terrific. Mr. Slave is the Andrew Tate of slaves. Yes, that is terrific. Anyway, Javier, why don't you join? I don't think you've ever joined. When did you make this comment? 137. Oh, it's a while ago. I missed your comment. I'm sorry, Javier. Javier, come back. Javier, please come back. Anyway, so we can continue commenting on TFM. I think it's a good idea. Maybe I'll send him a link to this video after so he can maybe respond.
Through regulation, force them to invest in government bonds. So if you're a bank, if you want to have any kind of interest-bearing asset, it has to be a government bond. So U.S. banks are forced by regulation to buy nothing but government bonds. The banks load up on the government bonds. That's all they can do. They're forced to by the government. So the government gets their liquidity that they spend in the real economy from the depositors of the banks who buy the bonds, which they're forced to buy. That's fine unless there's a run on the bank. Because these bonds have lost value because of raising interest rates. So these banks have become insolvent because their assets have gone underwater because of rising interest rates. Then you started to have bank runs, which you saw again with Silicon Valley, First Republic, Signature, all these banks are going under. Then the Fed stood up a emergency liquidity facility called the...
I don't think any of the banks went under. I think the Fed overreacted. Whoever shut down these banks overreacted. There was no reason. The banks were doing well. Everything was under control. I think it was an overreaction. And because as far as I know, the banks actually had, their balance sheet was positive. So there was no reason to shut down these banks.
Discount window where they are pumping liquidity into the banks. They're allowing them to borrow money according to the value of the bonds that they hold at par. So even though they've lost value, the Fed is allowing them to borrow according to the face value of the bond as if it were held to maturity. And that facility has pumped over $5 trillion into the banks so far. The question is that money? You know, the argument is, oh, that's a loan, it's not money. Like, yes, thank you. You have created a technical loophole, but ultimately, what is happening? The Fed is printing money, it is going to the government, and the government is spending it. What does that do to inflation? It doesn't matter that there's
a... Wait a minute. What do you mean going to the government? How is this relevant to the government? You just mentioned banks. I don't see how this is relevant to the government.
Bank in the middle, and it's technically a loan that has to be paid back someday. That doesn't matter. What matters is the Fed is printing money, and it's ultimately going from the Fed to the government's pockets, who is spending it in the real economy. And the government is issuing trillions of dollars of bonds. They're draining all the liquidity from the banks, and then the banks are going to the Fed and getting printed money to replace that liquidity. And it's to the tune of $5 trillion. And to put that in perspective, during COVID, we monetized about $5 trillion, and then the stimulus was about $4 trillion. There was about $2 trillion in additional stimulus. Altogether, came to about $10 trillion. That was...
Yeah, a lot of it is Trump. So I never heard you blame Trump for the debt and for inflation, but he certainly deserves some of the blame.
The COVID stimulus. Remember the COVID stimulus? Just a shower of money upon people.
That's Trump, wasn't it?
Already spent over $5 trillion on the bank bailouts this year. Now, to put that in perspective, in 2008, we had a banking crisis. You know, Bear Stearns, Lehman Brothers, the housing bubble. The entire bailout for the banking sector in 2008 was $500 billion. So one half of...
Why is this important? I don't see the point. Why is this important? I don't understand this.
$1 trillion for the entire bank bailout in 2008.
Oh, because of inflation. Okay. And you, yeah, but I don't understand. We had inflation. Inflation seems to be under control. You think it's not. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. It looks like it is. And who again cares about inflation? Why should I care about inflation?
Bank bailouts this year alone, over $5 trillion, which is 10 2008 bank bailouts rolled into one. And we haven't even officially had an actual crash.
So some people are afraid of inflation because they think inflation could become hyperinflation. But I don't see how that could happen. I mean, for hyperinflation, you need just printing and printing and printing. I mean, borrowing. The government needs to be able to borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow. I don't see mechanically how that's possible. You think the Fed, whoever is the head of the Fed is going, or whatever, the Fed is going to allow this to give the government more and more loans? Why would it? I honestly, I mean, why would any, right? These people usually are PhDs in economics. I mean, why would they want to destroy the currency? I mean, they live in this country. They know what happens when you just endlessly borrow. I mean, you're going to create, like, that's going to actually hurt the economy. So I don't see it. I mean, too many people have to conspire to want to destroy the country for this to happen. So I just don't see it happening. And you're not explaining the mechanics by which this could happen.
Actual recession. This is why people who are like, oh, look at the yield curve, the recession signals are firing. Yes, the Fed has already stepped in. Like, they've already injected $5 trillion into the banking system.
So?
They're actively bailing out the banks in real time. They're not even letting the banks fail. If you remember the 2000...
Yeah, I mean, government interference in general is a terrible thing, of course. But, okay. I mean, I don't know what hurts more the economy, the fact that the government is interfering, or that, I mean, if you could just have, let's say, a sector of banking that is completely free, that we as Americans can just use it with zero government interference, I'm sure all Americans will just switch to that banking system, and it wouldn't hurt the government. It would be good for everyone. But, yeah, it's the government regulations are terrible. I agree with you on that, but the actual bailing out, yeah, that's part of the intervention. That's not good, but it's not the bailing out specifically that is not good. It's the intervention. The fact that there's laws that tell banks how to run, that's terrible. That's it. The government intervention in the market is terrible. The market should be free. That's how you get maximum efficiency. If you let me do anything I want, I'll be at maximum efficiency. Anytime you constrain me, I cannot be as efficient because we assume rationality. We assume everyone tries to maximize tries to optimize their well-being or maximize their well-being.
2008 banking crisis. You had Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, and then there was like a 2-month period where the banks were failing and everyone was freaking out, where the government wanted to see what would happen. They weren't stepping in immediately. It was only months later that they actually, signed TARP into law and started bailing out the banks. That's what caused the recession, and they know that's what caused the recession. And they also know there's an election next year, and they're not going to let a recession happen, because if you look at the 2008 crisis, the recession that it caused lasted until like 2015. 2008 to 2015, we were in a recession. We had employment close to 8% for almost that entire period.
This is important. 1 second. Let's go back.
Later that they actually, signed TARP into law and started bailing out the banks. That's what caused the recession, and they know that's what caused the recession. And they also
That is what caused the recession? Signing TARP into law? What?
System. They're actively bailing out the banks in real time. They're not even letting the banks fail. If you remember the 2008 banking crisis, you had Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, and then there was like a 2-month period where the banks were failing and everyone was freaking out, where the government wanted to see what would happen. They weren't stepping in immediately. It was only months later that they actually, signed TARP into law and started bailing out the banks. That's what caused the recession, and they know that.
Why would bailing out banks cause a recession? Can you explain the mechanics? I don't see here. We just bailed out banks. We're not causing a recession. Or according to you, there is a recession. I don't know. You're always correct because you say everything. So I don't know what to say. How would bailing out banks cause a recession? Why would it? If you bail out companies, you cause a recession? How? There's a company about to go bankrupt. Let's say it's a bank. Let's say it's a supermarket. It's in the red, and the government steps in and gives it a loan, or maybe gives it actual, gifts. Yeah. How does that cause a recession? I mean, the fact that a business is in the red basically suggests that the business has been badly managed, and you are rewarding bad management. Okay, but that's a specific business. It's not good for the economy, but does that cause a recession? I don't think so. I mean, it hurts the economy. It hurts the economy to reward bad economic actors. You're going to reproduce whatever activity that, whatever terrible economic decisions they made, you're going to reward them. So they're going to repeat it, and others will repeat it, I guess. But does that cause a recession? I just don't see it. It's not good for the economy. Any government intervention is not good for the economy. But I don't see how that's a recession.
That's what caused a recession. And they also know there's an election next year, and they're not going to let a recession happen, because if you look at the 2008 crisis, the recession that it caused lasted until like 2015.
What do you mean they are? Who is they? Who's they? Who's they that's not going to allow a recession? I don't understand. I mean, the recession is me and you, right? It's the markets reporting negative growth 2 quarters in a row. So that's me and you with our businesses, with our business activity. Who's they? Who's they? I don't know.
2008 to 2015, we were in a recession. We had employment close to 8% for almost that entire period. If we go into a no shit recession this year, we're not coming out of it in time for the election.
Wait, what?
For almost that entire period. If we go into an election next year, and they're not going to let a recession happen, because if you look at the 2008 crisis, the recession that it caused lasted until like 2015. 2008 to 2015, we were in a recession. We had employment close to 8%.
Oh, employment. Okay, so you define recession by employment. Okay, yeah. How is employment caused by what? The banks getting loans or being bailed out? Banks being bailed out caused unemployment? Can you explain how that's relevant? I don't understand.
For almost that entire period. If we go into a no shit recession this year, we're not coming out of it.
Why would we go into a no shit recession? You have to explain mechanics. You can't just say things and not defend your arguments.
In time for the election. And the Democrats know this. And don't get me wrong, they're going.
The Democrats? What? The Democrats are going to underreport unemployment? You think we actually have high unemployment? We do?
Steal the election. But they have to keep.
Again with the stealing the election. Oh my God. It's all conspiracies. It's conspiracies all the way down. Hold on, let me plug in my power to my computer.
It's somewhat believable. If like Trump's approval numbers are like 70, 80%, and all the polls are showing him as like a sure win, landslide victory, and then at 4 a.m., millions of ballots for Biden come in, and he sweeps the election at like, the middle of the night after every precinct was reporting Trump was going to win by a landslide.
Look, as far as I know, this ultimately there was no election stolen. That's as far as I know. I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, was there cheating as far as the ballots and counting? Maybe. I honestly don't know. I looked into it. I don't know. Honestly, I just don't know. Was it significant? I don't know. Was it more significant than ever? I don't know. I mean, what we do know is that the Democrats did a good job, especially they changed the laws to allow everyone to vote from home. So, and then they did ballot harvesting. They went door to door. They did a very good job, and they won fair and square. So, I don't think the election was stolen. The election, if that's, if playing fair and square you call stolen, I think that's how Biden won. They just really hated Trump. I mean, these guys really hated Trump. Trump is a very divisive individual, I think. I don't know if he's intentionally divisive, but that's the fact. I mean, they really, really hate him. I honestly don't know if he is to blame. I really didn't give it enough thought. But I think that is what motivated the elections and the victory and Biden's victory. It's just because you talk to people, they hate Trump. I've never seen anything like this. The leftists hate Trump. Like Trump derangement syndrome is, I mean, everyone has it. I mean, even people on the right have it. So, and they don't have it in regards to Biden. They think Biden is a normal, even a wise person, but they think Trump is, they hate him. He's a dictator. He is, they call him every name in the book, and they just hate him so much. That's why the left won. That's why Biden won, because so many people hate Trump so much. Especially women, I think, but maybe men too. I mean, people just listen to Sam Harris talk about Trump. I mean, the guy's deranged, and there's many people like him that are, they just you can make 0 sense of what they're saying, but they just hate Trump. So, that's one of the reasons why Biden won. I don't think it's a stolen election. I don't think so. I haven't seen evidence for that. Sorry.
Everyone will know. Like, it's not even, you have to keep it somewhat close if you're going to steal the election. You have to have probable deniability.
I don't even think they intend to allow Trump to run for this election.
Yeah, of course, they're going to try to do all these indictments and whatever.
It'll depend. It'll depend on whether he's looking good coming into the election or it just is a landslide away from him because of all these trials. If it looks like he's going to win, they'll just throw him in prison. But if it looks like it's going to stop him from winning, then they'll just let him run so he loses. And
somebody detailed the strategy, but basically they're not going to allow him to campaign, and they're going to keep him in court like from 9 to 5.
Yeah, this is. I think it's interesting how, if you remember in 2016, the strategy was, have a bunch of Me Too accusers. Have a bunch of women accuse Trump of raping them. That was like the in thing.
Yeah, Trump and all the lawyers got Trump.
It's all the states that stole the election in 2020. The commodities manipulation. It's hurt me personally. My portfolio is still down like 25%, pissing me the fuck off.
Yeah. The commodities manipulation, it's hurting you. Yeah. You lost because your understanding of reality, you have a misperception. You don't perceive reality correctly. That's why you lost. And I don't see a way out of it. I mean, you live in a world of fiction as far as I'm concerned. And you don't understand the mechanics of the economy. You throw arguments without evidence. And I think that's why you're going to keep losing. Let's hear it again.
Here's the thing. The commodities manipulation. It's hurt me personally. My portfolio is still down like, it's fine. Here's the thing. The commodities manipulation. It's hurt me personally.
What do you mean the commodities manipulation? Who is doing all this manipulation?
My portfolio is still down like 25%, pissing me the fuck off. However, ultimately, you gotta look at it this way. If the government did manipulate the commodities market, if they let inflation rip, if they took the L, they wouldn't be driving OPEC into the arms of Russia and China and BRICS. because of the commodities manipulation, the world is turning against the West. And as much as I like to make money, I value my freedom more. And seeing the world unite against the cathedral is worth it. If I lose my life savings, I'm gonna be really pissed off. I'm not gonna be a happy camper. But I'm not gonna, like, if I'm still free, I can always earn more money. You know, I can always make that money back.
You're gonna be free if Russia and China take over the world? That's how you're gonna be free? I don't understand. You think so? Why aren't you moving to China or Russia? I don't understand.
Take that. I mean, well, it would take a while, but I could do it. Like, or even if I never retire, if I never retire, but I'm free, I'll be happy.
How could you be free? So why aren't you moving to China and Russia?
Work till my dying day as a free man. If I make a bunch of money, but I'm a slave, then who gives a shit? What am I gonna do? Buy more bug paste with my retirement money? So you gotta look for the silver lining, I guess. Like, the world is turning against the United States. Countries are lining up to join BRICS. And at the end of the day,
the world is turning against the United States. Because they're going to have a competing currency. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I mean, they're not happy. Let's say they're not happy for some reason with the dollar, so they're going to create a competing currency that's going to be better than the dollar, as good as, not as good. I don't think that's anti-West. I mean, it's just they don't like, for some whatever reasons they have, they think it's better to have another currency. Fine. I mean, Bitcoin is a currency. I mean, there's plenty of currencies that compete with the US dollar. So far, the US dollar is the best. And I don't see, let's say there is a better currency tomorrow. I don't see how that's going to impact the universe, honestly.
Countries, BRICS nations, they have the wealth. Like, what is wealth? Is the things you need to live.
No. Wealth is your quality of life. Having raw materials is not wealth. I mean, you can have raw materials, but you can live in a dumpster. That doesn't make you wealthy. You could say that makes you wealthy. Fine, you're wealthy in a certain respect, but at the end of the day, the way we measure wealth is GDP, and GDP is production of products, and it basically measures quality of life. At the end of the day, that's what it's theoretically supposed to measure. Anyway, let's continue.
Food, energy, housing, these are the things we need to live that make life, comfortable and easy and modern. We can't produce these things ourselves. I mean, we could.
Oh, we can't. We could. All right. So what's the problem if we could? We don't. Maybe we do. I don't know. But who cares?
The environmentalists would fuck off, but that's not going to happen. In fact, they're tripling.
The environmentalist. Okay, yeah, I agree with that. I mean, the environmentalists, yeah, they're causing a lot of problems. Yeah.
Down on that too. Tripling down on environmentalist bullshit. Now, my hunch is the plan is to nationalize everything. So they're going to create a crisis. And
then the plan. Whose plan? What are you talking about? Plan? Whose plan? Who's in on it? Can I get in on this plan?
Nationalize it to fight the crisis. Then once they nationalize it, they couldn't give us a shit about the environment. It was just
who's they?
The pretext to nationalize everything. Anyway, the point is we're headed for stagflation.
Why are we headed for stagflation? Can you explain the mechanics?
Common sense move would be to invest in commodities, because as the currency collapses, the value of commodities are going to skyrocket. And
the value of commodities is going to skyrocket if there is inflation. Why? Why is that? If there is inflation, then all the prices are going up. Why would you invest in commodities more than anything else? If there's truly an inflation, just an inflation of the money supply. So I don't understand. I understand 0.0 of your arguments.
That's not the wrong play. The problem is the market's being actively manipulated. And eventually, my hope is that
the market is actively manipulated. Okay. I mean, so I don't know how to argue this. What's your evidence? So what if, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, you feel that the measures contradict your perception of reality? I don't see it.
The BRICS nations, along with OPEC and basically 80% of the global population is joining BRICS that produces all the commodities the world needs, they're going to basically just cut the West off because they can trade among themselves. Like one of the big talking points about how China's collapsing is because
they're going to cut the West off. They're going to cut me out. So China is not going to want my money. They don't want to sell me. Why? India is going to not want to sell me. Brazil is going to want to not sell stuff to me. Why not? What would I don't understand this. They're not going to trade with us? That doesn't make any sense. Why not?
West isn't buying a lot of all these Chinese exports. Like, oh, China's producing more than they consume, and they don't have anyone to sell it to. It's like, yeah, because America is basically declaring economic war against China and Russia. But all they got to do, like, that's what's happening this month. What's going to happen is BRICS is going to announce their own trading bloc. It's basically going to be like kind of the EU, where you have free trade among the EU, and they get rid of tariffs, and you have all this other stuff. Imagine that, where all these countries.
Fantastic. If there is a bloc that conducts free trade, their economy is going to boom. And that's going to influence the world economy on average. It's going to create a boom. I don't see the problem. I don't see how that's going to somehow hurt my quality of life.
You'll begin trading with each other. And as long as their currencies are pegged to gold, they're interchangeable. Like, instead of being pegged to the dollar, just peg it to gold, call it a day. Now these countries can trade in their local currencies because they're all interchangeable, because they're all redeemable for gold at the end. You know, if you got too many rubies, you want to trade it for a fairy jar, you can just trade your rupees for a fairy jar. And then there you go. You got what you need. So everyone's happy. And then because Russia was selling oil to India, and then India was paying in rupees, and then Russia's like, what the fuck am I going to do with all these rupees? Like, can I get...
It's not rubies. I think it's rupees. I thought he was saying rubies. Anyway, rupees, yeah, okay.
Something else besides rupees? Like, can I get, I don't know, like, they need more trading partners for this to work. Russia and China can't just have bilateral trade, because India needs more from Russia than Russia needs from India. That's why you get the whole BRICS in on it. And once the whole BRICS is in on it, including South America, including Africa, which is all happening, by the way, then...
Fantastic. This is good news. I don't see why you're so upset. Or you're happy that it's going to happen because it's going to hurt the West. How is it going to hurt the West? How is a free trading bloc going to hurt the West? Is the EU hurting the West? I don't see it.
You have all the trading partners you could ask for. And the thing is like, you look at, like, Niger's a good example. So Niger works with their government, and they're trying to gin up a war in Africa. They're trying to get the Nigerians to fight the, I don't even know what you call people from Nigers. The Nigers?
So, I know what you call them.
what do you call them, Halsey?
Not on YouTube.
All right, so the Nigerians versus the not on YouTube. And then, so you have that going on. Here's the thing. Niger produces almost all the uranium that France uses for their nuclear reactors. And France has a very extensive nuclear power infrastructure. They get almost all their uranium from Niger. Now, Niger is kind of it's a really shithole country, but they have rare earth minerals that the world needs, which is why the West controls these countries in Africa. But now that they've seen NATO lose in Ukraine, and again, a week before the coup, Putin met with African leaders and told them that Russia would stand with them if they stood against neocolonialism, which is, he's referring to what the West does, how they control, using color revolutions to overthrow countries and put in their puppets and steal other resources. So that's what Putin was referring to.
Okay, so Javier answered, I am at work, Mrs. Slave, and it is terrific. Are you listening? Are you listening to my live commentary about of TFM show? It's the Constitutional, the TFM morning show.
And then Niger took him up on his offer over to the government. And so Niger's a shithole. Niger would love Chinese manufactured goods, Russian food. And they can trade the uranium they have. They can trade the rare earth minerals they have. They don't have much, but they don't need much because they're desperately poor. I think they're like the poorest country in the world, or they're like really up there.
So they got like the highest fertility in the world. Plus, the natural gases that come from Africa, the pipeline also passes through Niger.
So, yeah, because Nigeria is damn near like it's really south. So to get from Nigeria to Europe, because Nigeria has a lot of energy.
Someone made a comment here. If market manipulation worked, then inflation would never happen, but your low IQ brain would never see this. That's a good point. I mean, this is a refutation of TFM. Lucifer 333. Is it this? I don't know if it's coming from here, from the chat. Where is it coming from, Lucifer? Let me look it up. Control F, LUCI. No, there is no Lucifer here. Okay. Yeah, but that's a good point. If market manipulation worked, then inflation would never happen. I mean, why would Biden want inflation? Inflation, right? Everyone is afraid of inflation. Why would Biden show inflation? He would hide it. He would do the market manipulation to hide. Yeah. A
lot of oil and gas, and they're very in bed with the West, pro-Western. They're very pro-Western government, but they're on the southern part of Africa. So to get to Europe, to bring the oil and gas to Europe, you have to have a pipeline going through Niger, through a whole bunch of other African countries. And those other African countries aren't really benefiting from it. So they're just like, fuck your pipeline. What's Nigeria going to...
Oh, he's showing this Entropy Live. You know what? Let me go to Entropy Live. That would be interesting. Entropy Live. Wait, what exactly is the link? EntropyStream.live app TF Monkey. Let's just go to Entropy. Let's go to Entropy. Is it entropy.com? I don't think it's entropy.com. Chaos is inevitably coming soon. No, that's not it. Entropystream.live. Let's try that. Entropy. Let's go just entropy. Hold on. Let me share this tab. Entropy. Let's try entropy stream live. Entropy live. And TF monkey. Oh, I'd have to sign in. Am I signed in? Let me share something else for a second. Share this tab. Let me sign in with YouTube, I guess. Mr. Slave. Allow. Manage your YouTube. It's going to manage my YouTube channel. Please select your age group. Where from? Oh, but I think. Oh, so you have to pay. Donations will not automatically feed into the donation widget. How do you? I don't see. 1 second. Share. I just don't. There's 9 people, but I don't know what to do. What am I missing? What am I missing? Contact. How do you use this platform? DLive. Some of the content on DLive? What do you mean DLive? Isn't this Entropy? Entropy is DLive? It's the same? By confirming that you are 18, but there's nowhere to click. Let me try. Yeah, there's a button down there. I can see it. When I magnify, there seems to be a button at the bottom. I cannot reach it. There's no way to scroll. There's no way to reach it. Control A. There's no way to reach it, so I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, so we have to give it up. Let's continue listening. Share this tab.
Gonna do like there's gonna be war in Africa. There's gonna be war in Asia. There's gonna be war everywhere. We're gonna have World War III, and it's because the West is losing control, and no empire goes down quietly. So
why would there be a war? A World War III? Why?
World War III is coming. It's a question of whether it'll be nuclear or not, and America's doing everything it can to make sure it's nuclear. They want to make sure that they get nuked. They want to make sure that Russia nukes them all.
Ooh, Biden? Biden wants a nuclear war so that his children and grandchildren die, and he dies, and everyone dies. Why would he want that? That doesn't make much sense.
Hell, and kills them. And I don't know. Like I don't know what I do if I were Putin. I was trying to think because I can predict what Putin's doing fairly accurately because Putin is rational. When I try to predict what the U.S. government is doing, I keep coming up short because they're being stupid.
Putin is rational. I mean, I don't think Putin is. I don't think Putin is rational. I mean, he believes in myths. He believes in the Russian ethos, which is a myth, which is religion. He's a religionist. I don't think that's rational.
They're doing things which are going to backfire hard against them in the very near future, but they're doing them anyway. They're only thinking short term. And I don't know, like either they know something I don't know or they're really stupid. And based on the facts on the ground and everything going against.
What do you mean? I mean, you can debate me. Of course, you would never debate anyone because debating is poo-poo. You don't debate. You're just because everyone cheats and lies in debate. So you don't debate. It's not because everyone wipes the floor with you when you debate them. That's not the reason. Because you live in a fantasy world. You just don't debate. But you're welcome to debate me, have a conversation with me, and convince me. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Against them, I'm going to go with the latter, that they're just really stupid. Maybe it's
if you think Putin is such a terrific guy, why don't you move to his, to Russia? Well, you're not moving, so you don't think he's so terrific.
because of the boomers and their brains are going. Maybe they have a bunch of true believers and ideologues who just trust that, like, through the power of friendship and faith, they're going to just win no matter what. So they should just keep doubling down, and they're going to come out on top just through the power of Moloch. I don't know. So, sorry.
Really, there's only one thing Putin can do is just basically take what he wants from Ukraine and just prepare for war. The West wants to fucking throw down.
Yeah, well, but the problem is he doesn't have, Russia alone does not have the military, the conventional military, to fight the U.S. and Europe at the same time. Like, U.S. and Europe at the same time and all their allies combined versus Russia alone, not going to work. Now,
let me just tell them, if anyone wants to join me live, I'm live reacting, streaming on YouTube. Mr. Slave, what is it? Mr. Slave 41? What is my YouTube? Very difficult to tell what my YouTube is. Let me see. Your channel. Ugh. What is, I can't give them the link to my, I guess they have to do / let me try this. Sorry, youtube.com / Mr. Slave 41 / streams. So let me try and post it. Oops, show chat. So let me, oh, it went away. If anyone wants to join me, open panel, live reaction to TFM show. I can't put the link. YouTube is so great, it doesn't allow posting links. It's so bizarre. So just say .com. I don't know, can I do this? If anyone wants to join me to open panel live reactions to TFM show, youtube.com / Mr. Slave 41 streams. Yeah. Let's see if they join. They have the link. Let me, did I pin it? Pin message. Okay, now it's pinned. Link to StreamYard. Let me just tell them the link to StreamYard. Link to join using StreamYard is pinned in the comment section. Okay.
China and Russia team up. That could work, but China doesn't want war. Russia doesn't want war. Only the West wants war because they want the world to roll over and let them rule the world. And they don't like, countries standing up to them. But I mean, that ship has sailed. That ship sailed, hit the iceberg, and sunk to the bottom of the ocean. Now you just overthrown their government. You have all kinds of, this actually started with Afghanistan, with the Taliban defeating America, which they're celebrating their 2-year anniversary on the 15th of yesterday. The Taliban declared it.
Okay, I think he's switching topic now to other things. I mean, the most important thing for me is to debunk his economics, which is supposedly his profession. And I don't think he understands economics.
Holiday, called it Victory Day.
I mean, I would say he's not a PhD in economics. That's my intuition. Maybe he's a PhD in finance. I don't know what he is, but he doesn't understand basic economics, so he's doomed.
Anyway, so 2 years ago, the Taliban defeated Joe Biden and the Americans. And then Ukraine has gone horribly. They're trying to spin it as a stalemate because Putin hasn't just taken Kiev yet.
Who's they? I see it basically as a stalemate. Am I they?
So they're trying to pull that shit. But yeah, Russia is trying to be measured. But Ukraine's out.
Everyone is trying to be measured. The US is measured. Everyone knows that if this escalates, it could destroy the planet. Okay. It's nothing special about Russia.
The shit, like I saw pictures today. They're basically using the last of their tanks, and they put cages over the tops of the tanks to protect them from kamikaze drones. So now they have like chain link cages around the tanks to try to protect them from the drones, and that's all they got. They got some chain link stuff. It reminds me, like in Iraq, the armored vehicles would have like breakaway plating to defend against IEDs. It was just designed to fall away after it was damaged because of all the IEDs along the road. So that's where we're at. That's where we're at right now. They're talking about. I've heard some
you
rumors.
You want the explosive to go off before it hits the armor, so some of the force dispels.
Right, I understand the idea. It's just okay. We'll see if that works. Like I've seen there's different kinds of drones. I've seen a video of the Russian army using just a regular drone, and they basically put a grenade on, normal off-the-shelf drone with a grenade on it, industrial, drone with long enough rooms. It gets a little more expensive, but that's still cheaper than a tank. You look at the cost of a tank versus the cost of a drone. A tank's a lot more than $20,000, and I don't think these chain link things are going to defend against those kamikaze drones that are designed to.
The chains that you put on, around a tank is so that when a rocket hits the tank, it hits the chains and blows up the chain and doesn't blow up the tank. It protects the tank. I think every army uses them.
Take out anti-air batteries.
They'll just throw 4 drones at once, just one for the chain, one for everything.
Yeah, it's fine. It's not going to work. It's just they don't have any other options. This is the best they can come up with. The war's, there's no way Ukraine's going to win at all. And we're sending all this money to Ukraine, and we're just printing it. Have your taxes gone up? No, it's all being printed. So and the thing is like we're supposed to be fighting inflation with higher interest rates, but
I don't think we're sending money to Ukraine. I think we're sending useless weapons that we're never going to use. We're never going to use tanks. There is no right. The next war is going to be against China. I don't see how tanks are going to be relevant. And these tanks are growing old, so we might as well put them to good use. But I don't think we're giving money to Ukraine.
Here's the thing.
So I think you're wrong about that too, like everything else.
The propaganda I'm seeing right now is that even though inflation is going back up because of the loss of base effects, they're lying about the CPI, and there's all these articles talking about how
they're lying about the CPI. Everyone is lying about everything. I'm lying about the CPI too.
Inflation's going down, or it's climbing at the slowest rate in 11 months or something.
So why didn't they lie about the CPI? When Biden first moved into office, I mean, it looked terrible for Biden. So why didn't he quickly manipulate the CPI to reduce it?
They're trying to play this off as good news and very bearish.
Just like the other comment that we read before from Lucifer.
For commodities and very bullish for the U.S. economy. And what that tells me is the Fed is not interested in raising interest rates anymore. Now, they talked about they're going to raise rates another 25 basis points by the end of the year. They said they're going to raise them 50 basis points, and they've already raised it 25, which means there's another 25 basis point rate hike on the way. But the government is already, because of the rates where they are now, the government is already going to be paying $1 trillion in interest on the debt, within the year. They can't afford that. The government cannot afford to keep rates at this rate. They certainly can't afford to raise rates. And also, raising rates doesn't actually lower inflation. What it does is it causes a banking crisis, which if your goal was to cause a banking crisis and then cause a recession, that would lower inflation. But they didn't allow that to happen. They swooped in and bailed out the banks, and they injected $5 trillion in liquidity. And then the government has drained the depositors' money, and then the banks are going to the Fed for printed money. That's all inflationary, all of it. So we're not going into an actual crash or recession.
I mean, I'm thinking about what he said about raising rates. I don't understand how raising rates can influence the economy, honestly. And it hasn't. And my intuition was that raising rates will not influence the economy, and it didn't influence the economy. So I don't understand. I mean, the theory that people said, yeah, we need to raise rates if there is inflation. I don't understand the relationship. I'm sorry.
Because we're still printing money. We're still stimulating the economy. It's just going to get worse. Like war by itself is inflationary. This idea you can...
War is inflationary. Is war inflationary? How? That's not inflation. Inflation is an increase in the money supply relative to the production. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I don't know if you would get inflation. I don't know.
Like fight a war and also fight inflation at the same time is retarded. But that's what the media's been touting.
I don't think you can fight inflation. Inflation is just a reaction to shortages. We had a shortage because of COVID. That's why we had rising prices of commodities. That's my opinion. So so that's it.
That we successfully defeated inflation, and we're fighting these wars, and Ukraine owes money, and there's just more calls to escalate. We pissed off OPEC. The whole Africa, like Europe needed Africa because they lost Russia. They needed these pipelines from Nigeria to bring oil and gas to Europe, and now Niger happened, and Niger's also being backed up by Mali and Burkina Faso. So there's going to be a Pan-African war, and I promise you, the commodities will not flow to Europe during a Pan-African war. So that Europe is fucked. They've really pissed off Russia. Even if Europe goes to Russia with their hat in hand, I don't think Russia would give them what they need. I think Russia would tell them to go fuck themselves. And then Africa's going to be in war soon, like full on, coast to coast African war. And then what?
But I don't think Europe needs Russia. I mean, as time progresses, Europe is finding alternatives to Russia. No one needs Russian energy, and Russia, I think, is having a hard time selling its energy. It's oil and gas.
Where they get their fucking energy? All that's left is United States and Canada. And here's
I think there's alternatives. I mean, the fact is, as far as I know,
it's a funny thing. One of the main reasons why natural gas is so cheap, despite electrical costs going up, is because we've been importing a shit ton of natural gas from Canada. There's a report that the EIA decided to publish on the 15th. So we all suspected this since last year. Basically, Europe, when the Nord Stream pipeline was destroyed, they started importing coal. And they got through the winter by burning coal. America didn't burn coal. What we did, we imported Canadian natural gas. So the Canadian natural gas industry is doing great because they're selling natural gas to the United States in order for the United States to make energy commodities appear to be cheaper. And all of this is to hurt Russia. And here's your proof. There's all these reports talking about how the ruble is crashing. If you do any research, the reason why is very simple. It's because of commodity prices. The Russian ruble's worth is tied to commodity prices. The reason why Russia's the ruble was doing strong last year was because oil prices were high. Now that oil and gas are cheap, in air quotes, the Russian ruble is down. And that's all this is about. They're trying to keep inflation down, sure, but there's not an election this year. This is about trying to hurt the ruble. And all it did is it pissed off OPEC.
They're trying to hurt the ruble. I don't think anyone is trying to do anything. I think no one needs Russian exports, and that's hurting the ruble. And this could have been predicted from day one. And that's it. It's simple mechanics. I don't understand why you have to complicate things. Russia used to export oil. Now it's exporting less and less because no one needs it, because there is alternatives. And that's hurting the ruble. No one needs the ruble. No one wants to buy anything from Russia. Makes sense. No complications, no conspiracy theories, simple mechanics. Why do you complicate things? I don't understand you.
And so
your hatred of the West, I think, is blinding you from the truth. See, I don't hate the West. I don't love China. I don't hate or love anyone. I have a preference for the West. I don't intend to move to China or Russia because I think I'm better off in the US. It's the best country to be in. And so do you, because apparently you choose to be here. That's it.
And it's also causing coups in Africa. Like eventually and I made the point before, if you were a mercantilist country and you wanted to squeeze your domestic producers, they're not going to be able to do anything. If you tell farmers you have to sell at a loss, and you tell oil companies they have to drill at a loss because you're the government, I mean, they're going to go bankrupt. But assuming you do something on the back end to make them not go bankrupt, they're going to do what they're told. They don't have a choice. But internationally, when you piss off and screw over these commodity exporting countries, destroying their economies and driving their people into poverty and starvation, they're going to do something. Now, countries like Niger wouldn't stand up to the United States if not for what's happening in Ukraine, if not for Putin meeting with African leaders and encouraging them to stand up against neocolonialism. But they did, and because it's all about weakness. NATO is weak. NATO is ineffective. Their military hardware is getting blown up. All the propaganda in the world doesn't mean anything. Just look at how they act. If the propaganda were true, NATO would not be acting the way they are. So you can put out a bunch of propaganda about how Ukraine is winning and Russia's running out of rockets, and we're 1 month away.
Okay, am I part of the propaganda? I mean, I think Ukraine is doing well standing up to Russia. That's pretty clear. It's a stalemate. Why do you think there's propaganda? Why are you even using this term? Who is doing the propaganda?
Way from the counteroffensive, finally breaking through the defensive lines.
Am I doing the propaganda?
It's all bullshit, and everyone knows it's bullshit. Maybe not the American people.
So again, you hate the West. I understand you hate the West. I mean, but I think that's blinding you. I think that's causing you to see things that are not there, and that's why you're losing in the market 25% this year.
People, maybe not the average normie who gets their news from the shiny box, but I promise you the government.
I get my news from the shiny box. I listen to you more than I listen probably to any other source of information, and I still completely disagree with you without any shiny box. I don't even have a shiny. I mean, I never turn on my shiny box. So I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I just listen to you, and I see reality. And Siri, shut up. And I see reality. And I think you're 180 degrees wrong. That's it. But I think it's because you hate the West so much. I think that's what's blinding you. That's what's causing you to see fiction.
These countries who are getting screwed over by the United States exporting their inflation to them and weaponizing the dollar against them and manipulating
exporting their inflation? You don't have to hold dollars. No one is forcing you to hold dollars. No one is forcing anyone to hold dollars. If you have a better, you invested in commodities because you felt the dollar is so terrible and you're losing money. You would have been better off just holding dollars. So the dollar doesn't seem to be so bad. What do you mean, right? You would have been better off having the inflation being exported to you. Would you have been upset if you held on to your dollars? Would you have been upset that the inflation was exported to you? No, you'd be happy. You'd be 25% up. So what are you talking about? Again and again and again, you make 0 sense.
Commodities market against them. They know exactly who's winning in Ukraine. So anyway, here's again going back to the article. BlackRock is
who cares who's winning in Ukraine? I mean, honestly, why is it so important?
Telling you that we're going into stagflation and inflation is going to return.
Why are we going to stagflation?
In 2024. It's already returned.
What's the mechanics? What exactly is the mechanics that's going to cause inflation and recession and unemployment? What is going to cause that? What's the mechanic? Explain to me the mechanics.
It's going to rip. So what you're going to see, you're going to see double-digit inflation in 2024. We had 9.5 in 2022. This year is probably going to be something like 5, which I predicted. You're not going to have double-digit inflation years back to back because of the way that inflation is measured. You're going to have a double-digit year and then a single-digit year, and then a double-digit year and a single-digit year. But inflation is not going down.
Why would inflation not go down? What's causing inflation? And who cares? Why is inflation even interesting?
We printed $5 trillion this year alone, 10 times what we printed in 2008 to fight the banking crisis then.
Inflation is so bad that you lost money 25% because you held on to commodities. If there were inflation, you should have made money. Oh, market manipulation. Yeah, the whole thing, propaganda. Yeah, okay.
And about half of what we printed during COVID. And the recession hasn't even happened. The stock market crash hasn't.
Why would there be a stock market crash because of printing money? Why would that happen? Why would there be, I don't know. Why? Could you once in a while at least explain the mechanics? I honestly am curious. How do you see the mechanics? I don't think you ever explained it.
Even happened. And we've already printed half of what we printed during.
Who cares? Who cares? Why is printing money going to influence the universe? You have to explain to me how the government taking a loan has any impact on the number of cucumbers available or being produced in the universe. I don't see the mechanics. I don't see how inflation has an impact on the universe. I'm sorry. You have to explain it.
COVID. Imagine if the stock market actually crashed and people were panicking. How much would we print? We've already printed $5 trillion.
Who cares if the stock market crashed? Why is that important? The stock market doesn't crash. You could say that the prices of the securities being traded in the market, the prices could crash. Who cares? Again, it's the richest. The richest would become poor. Who cares? Why should I care? How is that going to influence my life? I don't see it. I don't see how a stock market crash influences the universe. Is there going to be one less cucumber in the universe because the stock market crashed? No. So why, again, is it important that the stock market either crashes or doesn't crash? I just don't see it. As usual, I just don't understand. Explain it to me.
Just to deal with the banking crisis so far. It's not over. This is why I said they're going to lower interest rates, because they don't. They're going to bail out every single bank. They're going to buy all the bonds off of all the banks, which I think at the time they calculated it was like $9 trillion. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at which is basically more or less what we printed during COVID. And you think inflation is not going to come ripping higher after printing another $10 trillion? And that's assuming the government stops, issuing bonds to fund its own activities in this war, which of course they are. The government's spending more money, taking all the depositors' cash and then filling the banks with printed money to make up for it. There's no way this doesn't cause inflation to rip. The only thing holding it.
Okay. Let me see. Let me hear my stream. Hold on. Just make sure that everything is still running. Yeah. Okay, it's good. We're still streaming well, but no one is joining us. Let me try and tell them again. Let me see. Paste. If anyone, no, let's make it more. I'm doing a live reaction to TFM show, youtube.com. Maybe it doesn't show up. Just do Slave 41. I'm doing a live reaction to TFM show, youtube.com. All right, let's continue.
It down The only thing holding inflation down for the last year was recession fears. And now they've pivoted from US recession fears to Chinese recession fears. The Chinese economy is fine. They have their
The Chinese economy is fine. I don't think so. I don't think so. Am I also part of the propaganda?
Their unemployment rate is like 5.3.
Oh, look at this guy. Ironheart says, I ate, I made my own meal, so I'm a no slave. I made my own meal. I don't see how that's relevant.
Their inflation is 0.8. Their core inflation, less food and energy is only 0.8. Our core inflation is like 4%. So they're doing fine. This whole thing about like, oh, these developers are failing to pay their bonds. Yeah, that happened last year too. Remember Evergrande? So what? So these developers are going to go bankrupt. And who fucking cares? Like, what they did with Evergrande is the government basically seized them, sold off their assets, and retired the bonds. And life went on. This idea that the Chinese economy is going to crash. While this is all about BRICS. This is 100% about BRICS. BRICS is going to fuck America's shit up, and they're going to blame.
Wait, what about Evergrande? That's interesting. I used to follow Evergrande.
That happened last year too. Remember Evergrande? So what? So these developers are going to go bankrupt. And who fucking cares? Like, what they did with Evergrande is the government basically seized them, sold off their assets, and retired the bonds. And life went on. This idea that the Chinese economy is going to crash. While this is all about BRICS. This is 100% about BRICS. BRICS is going to fuck America's shit up, and they're going to blame.
I mean, the Chinese economy has shown signs of instability, and it makes sense. It's centrally planned, so there's problems. We know that centrally planned economies don't do so well in the long run. So that's it. What you think you think centrally planned economies are good? So move to China.
BRICS for the inflation, and then they're going to try to justify more wars against BRICS nations, which they will lose. And unfortunately, these people are going to probably have to be nuked. Someone's going to get nuked. I kind of like, if I were Putin, he has to know that until he puts the fear of death into these people's fucking consciousness, they're going to keep doubling down. So I don't know, like
this guy TFM, you just hate the West. I don't understand. I mean, I understand that you hate the West. I mean, I can understand you, but I think you're taking out the hatred towards your mom against the West. That's my intuition, because the West is so feminist, and you hate your mom. So I think that's the mechanics. Sorry, nothing to do with reality.
We're gonna have nuclear war. Now, will we kill everyone? No, that's how MAD works. Someone nukes someone, and everyone nukes everyone. Maybe we're gonna come to that line because America's not gonna go down quietly. They're going to threaten the world with nuclear war unless you let them win, and the world has to make a choice. Do we nuke America and like see what happens? Because or we just roll over and let America rule the world and fuck us endlessly using the threat of nuclear war as a bargaining chip. I mean, what would you do? Would you just accept being a slave forever under penalty of imagine if someone had a doomsday weapon. It's okay. I'm gonna be emperor of the world and I'm gonna rule the world and my children will rule over your children indefinitely. And if any of you have a problem with that, I'm gonna push this button and kill everyone. I mean, maybe some people are like, oh, you better do what America says because they're gonna end humanity. Maybe.
Who knows? Maybe they're gonna produce so many bunker busters and just destroy all the silos and find all the submarines.
Well, no. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I honestly, there is something that's happening which I think might cause the West to stop. So Russia on the 15th, Putin made a speech and he talked about sharing. Russia was going to start sharing their military technology with their allies. Kind of like how NATO does. Everyone buys NATO weapons. Everyone has a NATO standard. Russia is going to be sharing its military technology with its allies in all these different letters of BRICS, OPEC. They're going to start sharing weapons with them. My thoughts immediately went to Syria and Iran because they're at war with Israel and they really want nukes. And here's my mad lad Hail Mary play that could cause America to back down. Threaten to give Iran nukes so they can nuke Israel. Because the one thing the American cathedral loves more than their own lives and their own power is Jews.
This guy is out of his mind. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? So now it's Jews? That's it's like, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, but this guy has, this is basically what they call anti-Semitism. He hates Jews. He thinks Jews have a special place in this world. And he thinks Jews, I don't know, and Israel. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, he hates Israel because I guess Israel is in cahoots with the West. It's part of the West. So, yeah, libertarians hate Israel because Israel is part of the West. They hate the West. They hate freedom. Israel is a dot of freedom in the Middle East, and they just hate it. They don't hate the whole Middle East, that it's anti-freedom, they hate Israel. That is the only place where you do have freedom in the Middle East. You know, that's libertarians. It's you know, it's difficult to understand what drives these people, but it's emotions. That's the way I see it. It's just emotions. I don't understand. So I mean, as far as I understand, Americans appreciate Israel because Israel is free. Israel is democracy relative to the Middle East. So of course, and Israel is an ally. Of course, that's why the West should want to support Israel, and Israel supports the West. I mean, there is a relationship. So it has nothing to do with the Jews. What are you talking about? It's just a democracy in the middle of, I don't know how many Arab countries. These are all dictatorships, basically. Terrible.
You just can't get enough Jewcom.
They tried to overthrow Netanyahu.
Jewcom. That's what he has to say. Terrible. Just terrible.
Well, they want a more progressive leader of Israel, but they don't want to see Israel destroyed. It's kind of like how they do these color revolutions all the time, you know, like where they'll try to find somebody who's sympathetic to their ideology to be the leader of a country. But they don't.
I don't want to see any country destroyed. I want everyone to succeed and everyone to grow their economies and standards of living, including North Korea, including everyone. So there's nothing special about Israel. Israel is just free. Israel, you know, it makes more sense to invest in Israel, for the West to love Israel. It just makes more sense. It's nothing to do with the Jews.
Anyway, my point is, Putin is talking, you can look it up, I'm not making this shit up. He's talking about strategic alliances and sharing.
I wonder what's going to happen the day an Arab is going to be elected as the prime minister of Israel. And TFM is going to still continue this spouting the same nonsense about the Jews. The Jews. There's going to be an Arab who's going to be leading Israel because Israel is multinational. There's plenty of right-wing Arabs and, you know, Arabs that support the state of Israel, that serve in the military and high rank and serve in the police and are high ranking and serve in the courts and are high ranking, including the Supreme Court. So it's conceivable one day one of these Arabs, I don't even know if they call them Arabs, Muslims and Christians, it's like other religions, whatever. But they're not going to be Jewish. They're not going to self-identify as a Jew, and they're going to be elected as prime minister, and they're going to be, you know, Zionists. They're going to be pro-Israel, obviously. But TFM is still going to hate Israel because of the Jews. Yeah, that's my prediction. Because even now, I mean, didn't the previous government have actual Arabs in the government? Is that also the Jews? Terrible. Just terrible.
Technology, and that has to involve nukes. Because he specifically said to allow countries to pursue their national interests without interference and bullying by America. Well, I don't know if he said America or the West or NATO, but they all mean the same thing. And Iran and Syria are very close partners with Russia. And they're currently, like, there's an American occupying force in Syria that won't leave. They're just illegally in Syria stealing oil. And, you know, like, Wagner's there, but, like, yeah, just give Syria nukes. America's going to leave. When they get nuked, then they get tactically nuked. Again, once everyone has nukes, what's America going to do? Like, Iran's going to nuke Israel. They've been chomping at the bit to nuke Israel. They're going to nuke Israel as soon as fucking Russia shows them how the launch button works. They're going to be like, oh, so here's how the launch button works. Like, oh, like this? Yes, die Israel. Die, yes, praise Allah. That's how that'll go. So what if?
Sounds like this guy is happy just imagining a day will come and Israel will be nuked by Iran. Why would that make you happy? Why? I honestly don't. Oh,
the only way to get America to take the L and to stop and just, you know, is to basically say, look, America, you
wait. You know, you actually scared me. I did not expect that. I was like, wait, what's going on? I thought someone penetrated the StreamYard. Anyway.
No, I'm awake now, and I see that we're still live. All right, this is the longest morning show you've had.
Yeah, because I'm doing a live reaction to the Morning Constitutional from the TFM.
All right. All right. Well,
Yeah.
since I stuck around even through, like going back to sleep and stuff, can you do me a favor as your co-host?
What's the favor?
Can you react to my friend Ganstar's latest video?
No, I need to know what it's about and if it's about the
It's
topics.
It's about Malik. This time it's not about Alex, it's about Malik.
I don't know. Ganstar, if you want to come on the show, yeah, I'm still going. If you want to come on and we can talk, but I'd rather not just jump into one of your videos because I'm afraid of the content. We can talk, but you can present whatever you want to talk about to me, and I'll listen. I mean, I should be the most anti-Malik of any of us. So
All right, well, I think you should watch the video and react to it.
you can tell me what you can tell me. Tell me what did Ganstar say in the video? What's his argument? What's his evidence and argument?
It's the usual contradictions. Like she says one thing, but she acts like she doesn't. She's not true to her word, basically.
She what? What? She doesn't choose her words?
Like she doesn't like abide by her words. Like
okay, so give me an example.
You'd have to watch. Come on, I'm your co-host. Put it on.
No. I'm reacting to TFM right now, but Ganstar can come on. We can have a discussion.
All right, Ganstar, you can come on the panel and you can explain to him the video yourself.
Yeah. Until then, I'm gonna keep listening until Ganstar shows up. Let's listen to TFM. Let's make fun of TFM. Where is the TFM? I think this is it.
Push us this way. We're gonna give Iran nukes, and then you can say goodbye to your precious Jews. They're all gonna die.
This guy is an anti-Semite. He just wants to kill Jews. I mean, his hatred of the West has driven him to literal anti-Semitism. Terrible. Very sad. Really very sad.
Slave, I'm gonna Slave.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get on my other phone, my secondary phone, so I can charge this one. So I'll be right back.
Sure. Okay.
I got a fever.
Oh shit! Where's the new supply of foreskins gonna come from?
I know where are we gonna get. We need somebody to bless our Pizzagate Moloch child sex rings. So anyway, that's what I see happening.
So he thinks the Jews bless the Moloch sex rings. That's this guy. I mean, this guy has obviously lost his mind.
In fact, I didn't. This is maybe not. Maybe they're not gonna give nukes to Iran. But that's what I would do. Because look at.
You would give nukes to Iran in order to blow up Israel? Wow. Great.
The shameless pandering to Israel is very blatant. So that might be the one thing that.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Israel is an ally. What are you talking about? Who's pandering to Israel? I mean, there's a lot of Jews in the U.S. that are pro-Israel, so it makes sense. And not even that. I mean, there's a lot of Christians that are pro-Israel, a lot of Republicans that are pro-Israel, so it makes sense. And there's a lot of Democrats that are pro-Israel. There's a lot of pro-Israel people, voters, and that's why politicians are all, basically almost all of them are pro-Israel, because everyone at the end of the day loves Israel, not because of the Jews. It's because it's a democracy. It's an ally. It's basically another state. Israel is basically another state. It's kind of leftist, if you ask me, but it's just another state of the United States. It's very American, very Western.
Gives the West pause. Like, they don't give a shit if Russia or China fuck Europe. Europe could burn in hell for all they care. They don't give a shit about Europe. But I don't know about Israel. They might be like, oh shit, they're gonna fucking destroy Israel. Not our greatest ally. What do we do?
Bro, it's because the same way they funnel money to the banks by using the Fed, they funnel money to the military.
And then you hear Halsey, and Halsey actually used to live in Israel and is Jewish and he's pro-Israel, but for some reason he agrees with TFM with all this anti-Jew nonsense. I don't understand.
Industrial complex through Israel.
I know. No, I'm not talking about the foreign aid. I understand the foreign aid is just.
Wait, what?
Not our greatest ally. What do we do?
Bro, it's because the same way they funnel money to the banks by using the Fed, they funnel money to the military.
Hold on, who's here with us? Oh, Ganstar. Hey, man.
Yo.
Hey.
Yeah. So, what's going on?
Everything's great. Your mic is still like you're talking through a hose.
Yo, Raw here.
Hey.
Okay. So, I understand we're a bit limited in what we can discuss, but just let me know.
No, we can discuss anything. Yeah, I'll stop you if there's topics that are not so healthy to discuss. But we should be discussing important things, not nonsense. So, but you were discussing. Okay, try me. I'll tell you where the red lines are.
Well, I'm just like video-wise. I mean, I understand you don't want me to bring up like certain individuals. But
try me. I'll tell you if I'm interested or not. I don't know who you want to bring up.
Well, obviously the most recent one was Malik. The one before that was Not So Erudite. I have a couple music videos about like Michelle and Natty and stuff as well. If those are okay, just to listen to a song.
I don't even remember. Oh, Michelle, I think I remember, and Natty.
Hey, Slave. Oh, speaking of Michelle, she lost a lot of weight. She's lost over 100 pounds.
That's terrific. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for all of them. But I want nothing to do with them. But fine. Okay, so you want to discuss Malik?
Yeah, but I was like, even video-wise, like, would just like a song, would that be okay?
Can you just tell me what? Just tell me what you like. I was hurt by Malik, but I have, I honestly don't care about her. I don't think about her.
Okay. I did not know the full context of your encounter with her, but I know that she was saying some mean things about you. Would you say that she's a good person, like a nice person, or not?
Yeah, in general, she's a nice person.
Oh, yeah?
I think Alex, in general, is a nice person. I think everyone in general is a nice person. But, when the cameras are on, people change. And, they act in a certain way. So I think Alex acts a certain way. Alex hurts people for views. That's my perception. It's not personal.
Okay.
He knows that he will.
Do you think that the way Malik is on camera, would you say she's a nice person?
In general, yeah.
Even on camera?
Excuse me?
Even on the internet, when you said that she's
in general, she's nice. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So her encounter with you wasn't that bad then, I'm assuming, or?
It got me very upset at the time, but I don't, in the long run, I forgot about it. It was really painful and traumatic, but I guess I'm over it.
So you thought that she was nice to you, or not?
In general, but part of the interaction was, for me, was terrible. For her, she couldn't care less. For her, I was nothing. Why should she care? Honestly, I mean, she's a beautiful woman. She has a successful career. Why should she care about some guy on the internet? she didn't think twice about hurting me. It didn't bother her, you know, but that's how people are. Like, you don't think about hurting an ant or a fly or a mosquito. You don't think about it.
Well, I'm vegan, so I do, right?
So you don't think about eating a vegetable. You don't think about hurting the vegetable.
I guess not, no.
Exactly.
So you think that she's a nice person because she looks at you as the way I would look at a vegetable? Is that like a good person?
She looks, I mean, look, I'm saying she's just normal. She's a normal, beautiful young girl.
Okay.
Why should she care about me more than you care about a vegetable? You have to give me the reason. Why should she?
Well, because, you know, you have feelings, emotions, and her actions can hurt you compared to a vegetable that doesn't really have like a life
So,
form, you know? So she should be more careful with how she treats you compared to how I would treat a vegetable, right?
look, I can understand her. I don't think she did anything out of malice. I think she did it, you know, she just couldn't care less. I don't
Well,
think she wanted to hurt me.
I can give you another example of another kind of older person that tried to interact with her. So she was having like money problems. So, and she needed like a car. So he offered to like give her his second car, and he offered to also loan her $5,000. He said all she had to do was come down and like visit him, and he'll give her the money in the car. And she basically tried to make out like, oh, he's trying to like use money, like, you know, because I'm desperate to get me to sleep with him and stuff. And he's like, well, I never said that you would have to sleep with me. I just said I want to hang out with you because I care about you. So yeah, I want you to come down, visit me, and we can hang out. Yeah, and you can decide what happens. But she tried to make out like, oh, he's a pervert and all that. So he's very upset with her. What would you think about that?
I think that's normal, typical, beautiful young girl thought pattern. That's how they think. It's you know, I'm used to it. I'm not surprised. That's how women.
So you're used to that, slave. You're used to trying to, because I know you believe in, you know, paying women. So if you try to pay a woman and she didn't appreciate it, she's like, no, I don't know. If she made you look bad, try to make you look bad.
It's nothing to do with my personal life. This is in general. Beautiful women, everyone tries to give them, and you know, they have men lining up wanting to give them. So they can be super selective in such a way that to us seems absurd. But you know, you know, an average beautiful girl like Malik lives the life that is very similar to a movie star. They're pandered. They, you know, everyone is. It's just something that I think we men cannot even imagine.
Okay, I would totally agree with you, except the part of you calling her beautiful. I admit that a lot of guys treat her
No,
as if she's beautiful.
no, she's beautiful. She's gorgeous. She's.
If you look at, well, that's why I really want you to watch the video now, because I don't think she looks beautiful on the clips I showed.
I tell you, look, I have her picture that she took down. I kept it in her bikini. She's perfect.
Wow.
She has medical issues. I don't know if she has some medical issues, but her body's perfect. Her face is beautiful. She's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
That's, you know, she's very much to my taste. So in my book, she's up there. Not a 10, not a 9, but probably 8. She's an 8.
Wow. I mean, if you even just look at the thumbnail of my video, you'll see what I give her out of 10, you know, and it's nowhere near what you're saying, but
I saw her in a bikini. I have 2 pictures of her in a bikini, or actually a video clip of her in a bikini. I don't remember. And she's perfect. She's very, like, really beautiful. Just
all right, can you play it for us then, that bikini stuff?
No, she took it down. No, for many reasons. I don't even know if I can find it. For many reasons, no. she took it down because I think she's religious or something. She didn't know it was up. That was the whole thing. I told her about it, and she asked Alex to take me down from the panel because I told her about it, and she rushed and took it down. So instead of saying thank you to me, she had me kicked out of the panel, that was very painful for me. But
well, yeah, like that's kind of the common thread, like with other guys that have interacted with her. So that, like that guy Ben, who offered her the car and the money, like she tried to basically on the internet in front of thousands of people say that this guy's like some kind of creepy pervert. And he was saying, look, I was only trying to help you. I like you as a person. I think you're interesting. So
I understand. This is normal behavior.
Do you think it's right?
It's undefined if it's right or wrong. It's just normal. It's acceptable. That is what society, at the end of the day, that's just, it's just, we eat animals, and you think that's also not good, right? You think that's terrible, but that's just this universe. In this universe, some people eat and some people are eaten. Some people are born women, beautiful young women, and some people are old, ugly men. So that's it.
I mean, I get that. But like, think about Slave. Imagine if it was like me and you, right? And I told you, man, I'm broke. I need some help. And you said, okay, man, I'll loan you 5,000. Okay, no problem.
Yes, I
and
agree. I agree. You don't have to convince me. If it's between two guys, yes, I agree. But this is a beautiful young girl. It's completely different, a different planet.
Yeah, but like, what if I pretend like say, oh, he was offering me money, but he was saying I have to do all these things, and you're like, that's not true. I never said that, but I was telling people that's what you said.
I
Would you say that's wrong?
Look, yeah, of course. I mean, but look. That's just life. What are you gonna do? What's the point of even this? You can Yeah. Okay. I'm listening.
I mean, because if that happens, you have to like hear the person out. Like you can't just say, oh well, she said that, he said this. We're just gonna believe her, But I'm saying, isn't it right to call her out if oh you're lying? You're trying to make him look bad when he was just trying to help you.
You can call her out and explain the mechanics and explain, well, she's a beautiful young woman, so society placates to her and accepts her and promotes her and rewards her. You can explain that, but that's just this universe. The sun, it's no different than saying that every morning the sun rises. You might as well be surprised every morning that the sun is rising.
Yeah, no, you're right. I get what you're saying, but I still think these girls, like you said, people will just take their sides because people find them attractive and all that. But I still think
I'm not taking just to be clear, I'm not taking anyone's side. This is the universe. I'm not taking the side of the sun when it rises in the morning. I'm just aware of this law of nature by which the sun rises every morning. I'm just aware of the fact of the law of nature that beautiful young women can get away with things that we guys could never dream of getting away with.
Yeah, and that's a problem, man. We should be able to address it and hopefully change that, because in my opinion, Slave, I don't believe that, because a girl got lucky in the gene pool when she was born, that she should have the right to treat us guys like crap,
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. I mean, first of all, as far as I know, she's helping her family financially. A, B, she has medical issues that she has to pay for, like surgeries. She has like gut problems. She has many problems. It's not like she's happy. I don't think she's happy. She's stuck in the middle of nowhere. I don't think she's happy with that. And she's going to grow old and ugly and probably be poor. She probably is poor and forever will be poor because most of beautiful women end up poor because they just don't know how to save. They don't understand super basic economics. So their lives are usually terrible. even worse than our lives. They commit suicide less, so I guess their lives are not as bad. They're more careless. I think there's more we should learn from women to just be more careless, just be, try to relax more. Women are just better at relaxing and not caring so much. Let the world burn. That's fine. Like we men, we carry this world on our shoulders, and this drives us to depression. And we should be more like women. We need to learn from them. That's why it's good to be in touch with women. Women teach you to just take it easy, relax.
What do you, have you learned anything from Malik then? Okay, what can you teach us about what through your interactions with her?
My interaction with Malik, what did it teach me?
Yeah, you said we should learn from him. And
we should learn because she's careless. Women are careless. They're carefree. No, I shouldn't say careless. They're just carefree. They're just relaxed. They look inside all the time. They're very self-centered. They're very interested in their own happiness. They're always reading how to be happy, they're very much into self-improvement. They're always looking inside and always trying to psychoanalyze and feel better. I think in that we can learn a lot from them. Also, they're very empathetic. They feel for the other. When you talk to them, they don't feel for you, but they feel for the other. As long as, they like tipping. That's why they're so poor. They don't save because they're always trying to help. And that's why when they vote, they always vote left because they're always trying to help. So they drive every economy to the ground. And they suffer because of this, but they're not smart enough, I guess, to understand it. Anyway,
well, like you did bring up the point about her in her financial situation. So she's actually on her Twitch charging guys $75 an hour to have like a therapy session with her, and obviously, that's the price of like a lot of therapists would charge that anyway. So she's basically saying instead of a professional therapist who can actually help you, you can just talk to me instead. So do you think that's
good? That's brilliant. I think it's brilliant. I think it's correct also. I think she can probably help more than a psychotherapist.
Really?
She's smart, yeah. My intuition is a normal, beautiful young girl can help a guy much more than a male or an ugly older psychotherapist, unless the psychotherapist is really good. But just being able to sit and talk to a young, beautiful girl, that gives you a lot. That actually, I think it actually rewires your brain in a very positive way. You're actually then able, it gives you a lot of courage then to go into the world. I think it's worth the money.
Well, look, I'll admit there is some value in speaking with a stranger you don't know, and if like you perceive her as an attractive girl, then there's some value in that too, I'll admit. But I just think that if someone actually has proper psychological problems, that she won't really know like in-depth procedures to like adjust that person's situation, so she might be able to help them in just basic things if it's like with dating and stuff like that.
I don't know. No. Not about dating. It's in general. Just when you, it's not talking to a stranger. When you talk to a beautiful young woman, it rewires your brain. Any interaction with a beautiful young woman rewires your brain, makes you happier, more relaxed. It's healthy for you. I think it's very good for men. The fact that men have access to this through Malik and through OnlyFans and all those live channels that you can live. These cam girls, they live stream and they talk to the audience, and you can chat and give them money and they give you whatever back. I think it's very healthy for men. That's my opinion. And that's
So
why
you-
men. I mean, it's so healthy that it's so much fun that men become maybe addicted to it, and they give all their money. That it's unhealthy for a guy at that point. But as long as the guy, that's like what happens with Tate. I mean, Tate was a master at manipulating men to give him their money. If you want to talk about evil, that's kind of evil. But as long as women do it without Andrew Tate, as long as just a girl is talking to you, I don't think she's lying. Andrew Tate taught them to lie and to manipulate the men, to squeeze them dry. And these girls would never have done this on their own. If you know anything about Andrew Tate, what he did. So I think in general, I think it's very good for men to. I think cam girls are very healthy in terms of psychotherapy for men in general. So I think what Malik is doing in general is a very good thing. That's a good idea.
Well, that's what we have strip clubs for, Mr. Slave. If you believe that what qualifies a woman to be a good psychotherapist, in your opinion, is solely the physical appearance, then they should just go to the strip club and give them some money, go talk to them, get some lap dances, all that stuff.
But I'm not saying it's only physical, because they're talking to her. When you interact with a beautiful cam girl, it's not just physical. You're talking to her or you're giving her money, and it causes her to orgasm, and it's you that did it, and it's fun for you. You enjoy it, and it rewires your brain, and you feel great about this, that you orgasmed a girl. That's amazing, and she thanks you.
Wait, Mr. Slave, right? I actually have been involved with some cam girls in the past, and I've been on the cam show with them. So I've seen the audience, the way they're talking to her, and they would literally be texting her, like the fact that I was there, and saying like, "Wow, why him? Why is he like the fortunate guy? Like we all wish we could be on there, like and you're with him, like I want to be him, basically, like And I'm just like, they're like worshiping her like she's like a god, and I'm just there with her, treating her like she's just another girl, So I don't know if that is healthy. You know what I mean?
I understand, but that's maybe a little different. But look, the very fact that they can communicate to a beautiful woman, that's healthy. I think it's healthy for for guys.
Wow.
I mean, it's not to be addicted to anything, but if it's part of your life and it helps you in your life, it's like one of the things that you do. Like at the end of the workday, you come home to your cam girl and you give her some money, and you have an interaction. As long as it's part of your routine and you're happy, she's happy, your life, you're making progress in your life, she's making progress in her life. Okay, so what if she has 100 men like you? It doesn't matter. You don't care. She doesn't care. Everyone is happy. Everyone is happier. It's a happier universe because of this interaction. Fantastic. I don't see the problem.
Well, I mean, there is some problems, like, because obviously, like some of those guys are regular people that would come, and most of them make like 1,000 for a night, just for a couple hours on the stream. And like I said,
that's fine.
When it comes to dating in real life, though, it's obviously much more difficult because that girl now thinks
so you
that
don't
she's
need
like
it.
so special.
Why? You don't need dating in the, you might not need it. It might not be as needed as in the past. I don't know. I mean, men who prefer, so I might prefer to be in virtual touch with a beautiful cam girl rather than date a normal person. That's fine. That's my preference. A lot of men, that's what, that's their preference.
Yeah, no, I mean to date the cam girl, I'm saying it makes it more difficult because she now thinks that she's like special, and like she's not just going to be like, oh, well,
that's her.
I have all these guys. Why am I going to settle for you?
But that's her preference. Let her choose. Maybe one day she'll say, okay, enough of that. Now I'm growing old and I can't keep this up. So I want to get married to a nice man, and she's going to stop camming and she's going to become a normal wife if that's what she prefers.
But I still think her ego will still be developed to a point that she's, going to find it very difficult to do that, compared to normal.
No, people adjust very quickly. She's going to adjust if she feels that she's not making enough money camming and she realizes she has to live in the normal world. She's going to become a normal person right away. It's not going to even take time.
But she's not
because
really
the human.
She feels she has to settle for a guy that she didn't really want. Like, oh well, I can't get these guys I used to get. Now I have to get this guy.
What does that even mean? What she really wants? I mean, everyone knows that no one gets what they really want. We all live in this reality, which is not optimal. We all prefer, we all have virtual or idealistic preferences. They're just not realistic. I mean, that's fine. That's,
yeah, but
I mean,
like,
you're gonna have to settle. Yeah, men have to settle when they meet their ultimate wife, and women settle when they meet their ultimate husbands, and everyone settles. And even when you meet your ultimate cam girl, she's not ultimate. She's not perfect. No cam girl is perfect. Maybe her boobies can be a little bigger or a little. Oh, I'm sorry. So right, so yeah, so no one is perfectly happy in this world.
Yeah,
that person doesn't
but there's a
exist.
standard.
So
There's no standard though. Like, most guys, you said the cam girl isn't perfect, but for them, they're like, oh, well, this is more than what I would ask for. So I'm very happy. But for her, if she has to get like with an average guy, when she's used to getting like really tall, good looking, talented guy, she's going to be like, wow, I don't really want this, but I need to settle down. And this is the only guy. So this is the best of the options I have now. I can't get those guys I used to. So she's not going to be happy.
But that happens every day when I have lunch. Is my lunch as delicious as it could have been? No. We all settle. That life is, that's life. I'm right now sitting and doing this. I'd rather rule the universe. So that's it. I'm in this reality, sitting here talking to you about these things is the most fun I can have right now. Can I imagine something better? Yeah. But
it's standards, like I said, though, it's about like what's good enough, that you're like, yeah, it's not that bad, so I'm not gonna complain.
That doesn't exist. There's no good and not. There's just levels of happiness. You can have levels from 0 to 100 or
I said good enough. Like, so maybe like 60 out of 100 or
fine. It's whatever. We all try to optimize our lives all the time. Right? We're all trying to optimize our well-being. We're all trying to be as happy as possible. That's it.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. But I don't know. I just feel like, most men are kind of content. Like most guys, like Alex, right? His girlfriend isn't attractive, but he thinks like, oh, she's really attractive to me, so I'm happy. But
yeah,
obviously we look at him, we're like, okay, well, you must be brain dead, like.
I honestly don't know how Natty looks. I've never seen her, in a bikini.
Oh, please play the video then, please.
No, it doesn't matter. Honestly, it really doesn't matter.
It's just a music video. It's only a song. Like, it's not.
It's not. It's honestly not important. It's honestly not important. I mean, we all settle. When I eat lunch, I settle for lunch. When I'm talking to you, I'm settling to talking to you. I'd rather talk to Biden right now and convince him to run the economy differently. But I'm settling to talking to you and convincing you, whatever. So I'm settling. We're always settling. And if I would be talking to Biden, it's also settling. I'd rather be talking to an alien who runs the universe. We're always settling.
Yeah, and I agree. That's true. But like, that's what I'm saying though. Once we hit a certain standard, we become kind of content. Like, yeah, it's I can't complain. This is fine. It's still not the best, but could be a lot worse. So I'm not gonna have any issues with it, I suppose. But
Yeah. So women who are cam girls and then they leave camming and they find a husband, if they're happy, they'll stay. I'm sorry. Whatever, that's it.
Well, I mean, that's what I just think there's a lot of like unhappy marriages, and a lot of women are initiating divorce, and it's because of things like that that they feel like, I'm not really happy with this person. I'm kind of settling.
I think that's a fallacy. I think it's a known fallacy that there's high divorce rates. I don't think there's high divorce rates.
Why do you think that?
As far as I know, in my life, I barely know divorced people. So,
wow.
I mean, as far as I know, the divorce rates haven't changed. Marriage rates haven't changed. Nothing really changed, as far as I know.
Well, it was like half for a long time. Like 50% were like success. Staying
I don't
together.
think so. I think there is a statistical game. I heard, what's his name? Sowell. What's his first name?
Thomas Sowell.
Yeah, Thomas Sowell. He discussed it that it's a fallacy. It's a statistical fallacy. The divorce rates are actually.
Honestly, Thomas Sowell is intelligent, but I feel some of his like metrics aren't like factoring in other topics, which is why I think some videos I watch of him are just like, oh, but you're missing this main fundamental, which is a huge issue, but he doesn't address it.
I don't know. I didn't look into divorce rates. As far as I know, that's what he said, and you would have to explain the mechanics of why you think the divorce rates have changed, or used to be different. You would have to explain why. Okay.
Well, it's not even that they've changed that much, but I'm just saying for the last like 20 or 30 years, it's been around 50%.
Can you find a graph online? Can you find a statistic online?
I mean, yeah, of course. If you type that in, that will come up. It will say like 50% of marriages end in divorce.
That doesn't mean much. Even if 50% of marriages. I'm sorry about the background noise. Can you hear the background noise?
Just a little, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. Let's look up statistics if you want. Let me look it up 1 second. So even if the divorce rates are very high, so they get divorced and remarry. That doesn't mean that there's many single households. Maybe it changed. I don't know.
Well, yeah, people are marrying less now of recent years, so that is a point to be mentioned.
So you're saying there's more people, there's more single parent households, or there's more households with single people living in these households? That's what you're saying. People are in less relationships. What are you saying? There's less relationships these days than in the past?
Yeah, 100%.
Let's say that's true. So what? People do what they prefer to do. I'm quiet. Okay, I'll be more quiet. Yeah. Yeah, look, it could be that people today have
You in a dilemma?
Yeah. I'd have to move all the equipment. It's a lot. There's a lot to move. I'll try to be more quiet. Anyway, there's too much to move. All right, it's just temporarily, so let me switch to the other room. Oh, I need to reconnect my mouse. I'll take my mouse with me. Okay, let's switch rooms. Anyway, so all right. Hopefully we'll have quiet. Anyway, so okay, I mean it's possible. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's possible that people today are in less relationships, are more solitary than in the past. It is possible. But that's people's choices. You would have to ask why. I mean, is it because in the past people were stuck in unhappy relationships? I mean, why is that? But the question is, are people happier today than in the past, or are they more sad?
No, that's
Or
my
they're
point.
more sad. How do
It's
you
not
know
by it's not by choice. It's like for the men anyway. Like men are finding it hard to get girlfriends, and it's not because they don't want them. It's because they're saying the girls don't physically find them attractive enough.
So you're saying, but women are as happy as they used to be?
No, because they think they are for a while, but then eventually when they get a bit older and they don't have like a family or children, then they start to get a bit depressed. Yeah.
So you're saying on average people are
less happy today. Yeah.
Less happy today?
Yeah.
So why aren't they changing? People easily modify their lifestyle to become happier. So why wouldn't they just change?
They try, as in they read these books about, oh, you don't need a man, like you can have a happy life. They watch these videos of girls saying, oh yeah, I'm happy on my own, and so they try to, but then eventually they get lonely, and they're like, well.
So at the point they get lonely, they should find a guy.
But their standards are high, so.
Look, that doesn't make any sense. On average, there's no reason for people today to be less happy than in the past. If anything, maybe more happier.
Yeah,
because
you're right.
Today,
they should, yeah.
Wait, no, I'm saying, like compared to the past. In the past, life was more difficult, especially 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000 years ago. Life was mostly, we didn't have internet. Most people were illiterate. Most people were just, wake up, work, come home, go to sleep, maybe eat something, and the next day. Life was very boring, very mundane. Very few people could even have this discussion that we're having right now. Very few.
Exactly, I know.
So that's not fun.
I know, but that's the point. But even with that, the point is that they had a structure in their life, and they had a routine, they had a community. When they go to work, they probably had the people that they see every day, and they, have to get on with their daily tasks. And
but life was full of illness and disease, and you had to work in the farm, in the sun, in the wind, in the rain, and then you basically lived with the animals. And in the summer it's hot, in the winter it's freezing, and I think life was always terrible for most people, I think. And today it's mostly fun for most people. A lot of people today are on YouTube and streaming and communicating. I think in general people are just happier and their lives are full. So maybe they don't need a partner like they used to. And maybe they realize we don't like.
Hey, Mr. Slave.
Wait, let me add one more point. And also, like in the past, you had to have children because you would die otherwise. Because when you get older, you need your children to help you. Children were, your old age insurance. And today we don't need that. I mean, we barely need anything. we have plenty. I mean, we have, so we just don't need children. So people don't think of children as like we used to. So you don't need a wife. You don't need children. So then you think, oh, do I want a wife? Do I want children? And a lot of people might say, I don't want a wife. I don't want children. I don't want it. So it's a luxury. It's just a luxury. It's like hunting or who knows what. It's like these things that we can have a good life without them, I guess. And if you can have a cam girl, a relationship with a cam girl or multiple cam girls, it's good enough. And you have porn. I mean, in the past, you had to have a wife to have sex. Today, you don't have to. I mean, there's so much porn that who needs a wife? So it's different. It's just different. I understand.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, you could say life could be better. We could improve. Yeah, that's always true. That's always true. But I just don't think people are sadder today than ever. I think.
Why are more people killing themselves then?
I don't know if that's true. Why would you say that?
What? Of course that's true. What?
What do you mean? What are you relying on when you
the
say
male
that?
suicide rate is the highest it's ever been.
And who says it was lower in the past?
Yes, it's been documented that it's a huge rise in male suicides in the last 10 years.
Yeah, but
just like the amount of male virgins was 20 years ago, 8%. Now it's 30 something percent.
Yeah, virgins maybe I can understand because of the rise of porn. I can understand that. But suicide, you can say that maybe in the past life was more difficult. Okay, I mean, look, suicide is one way to measure happiness. It's a good question. I mean, maybe in the old days, people who commit suicide today would have been killed somehow. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's even true. I don't know if it's true that. And I don't know if it's statistically significant. I don't know how many, out of how many, is suicide, how statistically significant is suicide altogether compared to other mortalities? Like how many men die of other causes compared to suicide? Is suicide something, is it a tiny blip that is a little bit growing, or is it a big blip that's
well, obviously that's not saying that most guys are killing themselves, but the point is that it's just a lot higher than it was, and it's rising. So they're saying, oh, we need to look what's causing this, and before it gets out of hand,
So look into it. I don't know if it's
That's
true.
what they're
I don't
doing.
know. Yeah, but I don't know if it's significant. You tell me how many. What is on the list of causes of mortality for men? What number is it? I doubt it's in the list.
I think it is at least in top 5. I imagine.
Let me try looking it up.
Only for men, though, not women.
It doesn't matter. Cause of death list.
No, but because if you throw in women hardly ever commit suicide, so it'll be low based on that. But if it's just men, I think it will be in the top, at least top 10.
Fine. Okay, fine. Okay, let me try men. Heart disease. Let me see. Illinois.gov. And this guy, top 10 causes, and CDC. All right, let's look it up. So this guy, top 10. Let's look up Control F. So, okay, number 8 is suicide. According to the medically, men are more likely than women to commit suicide because they are more likely to use deadlier means. Oh, that's the reason. It's not that they're more or less depressed. Men are just more efficient. When it comes to anything, men do it better, including suicide. It's not depression. I think women are more prone to depression. Depression is one of the most important risk factors in suicide. Unfortunately, male depression is underdiagnosed because men are less likely to seek help and because men don't always develop standard symptoms such as sadness, but instead are more likely to experience fatigue, irritability, sleep disturbances, and a loss of interest in work and hobbies.
Yeah, but
you're wrong. You're even wrong about that. Even if men kill themselves and women never, but it's because men are more efficient. That's what they're saying here.
Yeah, but the whole argument was about happiness, and I was saying that people are less happy now, and that's showing if
okay.
there's a rise in suicides.
We put to the side this theory of men killing themselves, men being sadder than women. Now let's look. So all we need, it could be that there's more suicide because there's more availability of ways to kill yourself. Like in the past, it was more difficult to kill yourself. That could also be it. I don't know. I honestly never looked into it.
Well,
okay.
I mean, I only brought that up because you said about people should be happier now, but I was saying more people are killing themselves now. And then I said women don't kill themselves, but yeah, you're right.
Fine.
Women
Okay.
suffer with depression just as much,
Okay,
but
so,
they don't.
Okay, are people happier? Are people happier now than in the way I can ask you, the way we can figure this out, are people happier today than in the past? When would you rather have been born, today or in the past? I don't think anyone would prefer to have been born in the past, no matter when the
No.
past was.
No, some people say they do because they don't
I
like the
doubt
way
it.
modern media has become.
I doubt if you would actually tried it out, you would actually stay there. I think if I actually let you live in the any time in the past and then come back, you would always prefer to be in the now compared to in the past. And I would submit that also you'd rather be in the future than now because I think in general life is improving. I mean,
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
The GDP is actually that measurement, basically, ultimately, of this improvement of life. As long as you have positive GDP, and basically we've been having positive GDP for the past couple of hundreds of years, so our quality of life has been rising, and I think people are happier when your quality of life is higher. You're happier. Our homes are bigger, our cars are bigger, we drive more, we eat more pizzas, we drink more, we smoke more. We just enjoy life more. So I don't think people are sad today.
Look, okay, Mrs. Slave, you are right about all that stuff. I agree that like life is so much easier now than it was in the past. So it's strange to think how come more people would be so depressed and wanting to kill themselves if that was the case. But they say like, that it comes down to the basic fundamentals of like what it makes you truly happy. And that's why they say it's mostly about having community and having a family, which is what people are lacking now. And they're saying that's why things are
just
happening.
the opposite. Just the opposite. Today you have much more community. It's virtual, but it's a much more accurate community. In the past, you couldn't choose between millions of communities. You basically had one community. You couldn't choose it. And today you have millions of communities that you can join and switch between daily.
Well, how many of those people are your true friends though? It's not real.
I don't know what real is, but I think because there's so much choice that you can choose, you can fit it more precisely to who you are and grow with a certain community and then dispose of them and move to the next community and evolve.
I agree.
And I think these relationships are much more meaningful than just because the guy's your neighbor. Imagine you have a neighbor who's a dummy dum-dum and you're stuck talking to them compared to you can talk to people that you're so close to, so in tuned with, and you can evolve with them, and you can ask really deep questions about fundamental things. You even Discord, you can switch between the Discord servers and have such amazing conversations.
Yeah.
So
I
this
agree.
is. Mhm.
I agree that, like, yeah, there is much more diversity, and you should be able to utilize it to make yourself, like you said, an even greater community. But I suppose it's just a sense of the realistic form of a community, like you said, your close proximity, like that's lacking today. Like people are, like you said,
Why do you
instead
need
going
it?
on these discords and talking to people
Why do you
instead of
need
their
it?
neighbors.
Why do you need it? What do you gain? I mean, it's a guy. It's not like you're gonna bang him. If it's a girl, I understand, but it's a guy. So
Yeah, but
the
you meet your
proximity.
partner in the community, like, you know. So.
Look, I have a community. I have a gym. That's my community. These people, we try to kill each other. That's pretty intimate, and
But that's real. That's real. So yeah.
you could never. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, there's gyms. There's MMA gyms. There's all types of gyms. Whatever you want. There's so many gyms. There's probably 1,000 gyms within a short driving distance from where I live.
That's a real community. That's in your close proximity.
Fine. No, that
Yo,
was
real
not.
quick, Slave. I'm gonna be switching to my other phone again, so I'll be dropping off and then coming back.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I mean, the fact in the past you didn't have all these gyms, and this is evolving. Who knows what tomorrow is going to bring? Like, it's not just gyms. There's so many coffee shops and so many restaurants and so many, in all these places you could develop relationships in each one of these places. Even in your local Starbucks, you can develop a if you show up every day to your Starbucks, you're going to end up having a relationship. Even, everywhere you go and visit multiple times, you can have a relationship with the.
I mean, what you're saying is true, but the point is that most people don't do that. As in, most people are like, when they go out to the Starbucks, they're on their phones. They're not really interacting with the
That's
people
their
around them.
choice. But that's another reason to be happy. You have the world's information at your fingertips.
I know.
That's
You're totally
amazing.
right. It
I
should
would
be
never trade
amazing.
that. I would never trade that. That makes me so happy. I mean, that's people
I
love their.
understand. I understand it. It is like, because in 20 years ago, you couldn't just ask Google. Well, okay, you probably could, but 30 years ago, so you couldn't just ask Google the answer to a question. You have to
Exactly.
actually find a book and figure it out. But
Which
it's
means
so easy now.
Which means most people lived lives of lies. You lived in lies and you wouldn't know it. And I'm old. I grew up without the internet. I mean, it was, compared to today, it was a disaster. I mean, you had so many scams. It was so easy to scam because no one knew anything.
Yeah.
And people believed in utter nonsense. And today it's very difficult to believe in nonsense. There's still a lot of nonsense. Everyone is wrong.
I know.
Even like we're having this discussion, I think everything you're saying is wrong. I was commenting on the TFM, turd flinging monkey on his show, and I would say he's a genius. I mean, he knows much, much more than the average guy, or even the average YouTuber, even the best YouTubers. Hold on, let me add this guy. Mr. Slave's teeth mog everyone's teeth. Anyway, so and even he is completely wrong about everything, but that's nothing compared to in the past. In the past, we had no idea. No one had access to statistics. You had to be like an academic to have any access to anything. You had to live in the library. In the library, you had to be updated, and until you got anyway. There's nothing to compare this to the present. The present, we live in affluence of everything, of knowledge, of resources, of relationships, and I would say just because your life is so full of relationships, you might need a wife less than in the past, or a partner, because in the past that was the only thing you could have. Today, you could have, and maybe there's a lot of gay guys and women that, I don't know, maybe they don't want a partner. I don't know. I'm talking about the measurement, and in the past so maybe gay guys don't want, or maybe guys with fetishes don't want partners. And in the past, you didn't have that option. Anyway, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, if I just have to break it down like very like concise, I would just say that a lot of people now say they don't have that many real friends that they actually can meet up with and do things with. They don't have a partner, so they don't have a family, and they feel like kind of disjointed with their close proximity. So they're just stuck on the internet and they can join communities like that. But overall, they're still lonely when they go to bed at night. You know, they wake up on their own. And I suppose that's a part of why they're saying that people are less happy now compared to before. They had a family, they had a community, and that was helping them.
Look, even for the average guy who cannot find a partner, that's because he has high expectations. If he lowers his expectations,
No.
yeah. Yeah,
Really?
you can always find, of course, you can always find a chick who is ugly and fat and, whatever. And she might even have a nice personality, who knows, but you can always settle for, for a wife if you really want to wake up next to someone. And, it doesn't have to be the end of the world. It doesn't have to be the ugliest chick in the world.
But do you think, like, does
if
the
you
guy
lower,
have to be okay himself? Like, can he be big and fat as well? Or
but I mean, it's if you look, if the question is, what do you appreciate more? You want to wake up in the morning next to someone, or you prefer to have a virtual relationship with a cam girl? It's your choice. That's the beauty of modern life. You choose what you prefer. No one is forcing you, and both options are available. You can even change your mind. You can have one day a girl waking up next to you, and the next day you can be with your cam girl, if that's what you want. And you have Alex to teach you, or anyone.
No, I have to stop you there, man. Come on.
Fine. I had Alex to teach me. I cannot take that away from Alex and John. Between Alex and John, I learned so much. It completely changed my life.
Wow.
Oh, for sure. No question
What
about
about Indian Pie Man? Did you learn anything from him?
He barely was online available to teach, so there's nothing I can say about that. But between Alex and John, I learned enough to be satisfied in my relationships.
Well, I thought you were already doing good before you joined the community. I mean, you had your old owner before you came on.
No. That's before I joined Alex's show, but I was listening to Alex for 2 years before that.
Oh, okay. So you were listening to PWF before you got on and debated.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, Mr. Slave, I'll just say that I don't think guys can just choose, though. I think, yeah, if you're an attractive guy, then yeah, you can probably get a fat girl easily. Yeah.
No,
well, not
I
easily,
disagree.
but you can.
I disagree. Any guy can choose to settle, to lower their standards. There's always an uglier girl than you are defective. There's always an uglier girl, whatever. You can always settle.
Do you not think
Always.
the unattractive girl on the dating app, don't you think that she's getting tons of guys wanting her too, no?
Obviously less than, and she can also choose. So between all, for an ugly girl, between all the, terrible guys, you might be the top one. And also it's not like she's gonna date multiple guys, and if you love her, if you like her the most from what you can get and you want to settle on her, and she's gonna realize, oh, this guy is gonna try and keep me, she might decide to keep you.
Well, I mean, Mr. Slade, look, I'll just use Michelle as an example. Michelle was obese and she was on the dating apps. She told me she used to get 1,000 likes in a couple days. And some of the guys that she meets up with are, she says, very good looking men. So why would she want to date a big fat guy if she can get a good looking guy?
Because he might be wealthy.
Well, the good looking guy could be wealthy too. Why would she go for the fat, unattractive guy?
Because he might be wealthier, he might be funnier, he might love her more, he might live closer, he might, who knows?
Okay,
you have to try.
She still needs to be the best out of the choice, though. She can choose and saying you have to be better than that guy she's on the date with now.
Don't forget, the more you love a girl, the more she's gonna like you. because
the
in
more
her
she's going to
mind,
use you, maybe. But
right, but the ultimate usage is marriage. So she's going to marry you for the ultimate usage for, right? She wants exclusive usage of you, of all your resources. That's called marriage. So she's going to marry you. That's fantastic. So it's a win-win.
Well, look, I'll just say with the black pill, we just say that like the men are finding it hard to get their looks match. So most guys do have to date down. But even then, like I said, someone like Michelle, who at the time, she's not as big anymore.
But don't forget
she had her choice, you know?
Don't forget that in the past, you didn't have any choice. You lived in a village and you knew just a bunch of women. That's it. That was your choice. Today, you have thousands and thousands of girls to choose from. So obviously, I think you can. I think you can match better today than in the past, and so you can be happier with your match than in the past.
What you said there is true for women. Women used to be, stuck with the men in their area, but now they can expand to new horizons. But the men then are getting left behind because they're like, wow, she can get this guy who's way out of my league. I don't stand a chance with her now.
I don't think so. I don't see the difference. You can expand and she can expand. They can both expand. Whatever argument you have for her, you could use for him. I don't see that. I think that's
a woman has an easier time?
No, I think that's a statistical fallacy. I think you guys got it wrong there too. Yeah.
But you said even Malik. You said like that she can get away with things more than a man because she's a woman. You said.
But this was always true. It's not more or less true than ever. It's nothing to do with the internet.
You don't think that Malik has an easier time than a man? Don't you think a woman on average has an easier time as well?
But that's not. We're trying to compare today to the past. I don't think it was ever different. Women always, women were the trophy always. Women used to be sold. Like a man used to have a daughter and, at one point he sells her for money. Women were always a commodity. So you cannot compare.
Women needed men then because they couldn't work. So they had to get a man who had a good job and all that. So before you could get a girl based on that, but now
the point is women were always, you always had to buy your access to a woman just like today. So that didn't change. Nothing has changed. You think today is different than in the past. You think Malik is different today than in the past. No, she would have been bought for a lot of money in the past and she would have known it, so she would have behaved just the same.
Oh, I don't know, because like you said, she wouldn't have access to these guys online who are like giving her money and telling her.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't. Essentially, there's no difference within whatever tiny community 1,000 years ago. Malik would have behaved the same compared to the women around her. She would have been more entitled 1,000 years ago, just like today. Today, it might be more because the communities are bigger, but it would essentially there's no difference. Essentially, there's no difference. It's the same. Women were always entitled. You could say that in the past, men used to die more in war, so there used to be always more women than men, so that would bring the value of women down. That's possible, yeah, but then certainly you wouldn't want to live in the past. If I tell you, well, men in the past had better wives because many more men were killed. So do you want to go live in the past and roll your dice that maybe you'll be the one killed? Probably not. So, but that's the price. If you want, there's no free meals. If you want a better wife, then you have to kill off men. If you're rolling the dice and it might be you who's getting killed, that's not fun. Look, there's no free meals. There's no free lunches. You don't get something for nothing. At the end of the day, things balance themselves out. And I think today we're as happy as we always were. I guess a little bit more because both me and you would not prefer to live in the past. Certainly not after you taste the past. You go and taste the past, you're going to come running back here.
Well, some things in the past were better though. So it wasn't all bad back then.
I don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Anyway, let me see. It's been 3 hours and 20 minutes. I think I better start my life. I better get back to work.
Hold on. Before you end this, can I just ask a question? So Mr. Slave, do you believe that there really is someone out there for everyone, like people say?
No, there is no someone. There's many, and you have to decide what's yours. Like, do you believe there's one lunch waiting for you out there? No, you can choose to go have McDonald's, or
So
I
you
don't know
think
what
it's even
else.
better? It's not that there's someone for everyone. It's like there's many people for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
but
All right,
it's
let me ask you this then, Slave. I like to go off of, like facts and evidence. So what about the people, like, for example, in China, where there's a huge gender imbalance, like men heavily outnumber women. So, because of that, I don't believe that there can be enough women for every man to go around with in that area. And that should also include worldwide. We're never going to have a perfect, even in the monogamous straight community, we're never going to have a perfect ratio of men to women. It's either men will outnumber women or women will outnumber men. Right now, we're living in a time where men heavily outnumber women. So, based on that, I don't think it's possible to believe that there's enough women for every man to go around with. Some guys are not going to get lucky.
Look, I mean, China is different. They had this one-child policy that created this anomaly, but we're not in China. You could say that because of China, a lot of women from all over the world moved to China to fill that void. So the rest of the world is missing out because of that. So you could say there's a little bit of imbalance. Okay, yeah. So settle, lower your standards. If you lower your standards, you should be able to find many women.
Okay, so let's say let's say that all those guys in that area took your advice and everybody lowered their standards to even the ones, the zeros, whatever you want, the bottom, because, lack of
I agree.
opportunities.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree. It might be that there is an imbalance, that there is more more men than women. It might be. I don't know. And yeah, it could be. It could be on average. But don't forget, I mean, women sometimes leave a guy and then they're available, and during this time they sleep around. They're testing and tasting different men. So you might be able to find multiple girls at any time that are that have multiple partners at that time. So you could say on average, on every given minute, some guy is a little bit more lonely than some girl. But that's like yeah, but I don't know what to say. I mean, but yeah, I mean, if there are more men than women, yeah, then on average, men are going to be just a little bit more lonely than women.
Yeah, so I just wanted to point that out, that not everybody in the dating market is gonna get lucky. It's nothing to do with, them as personality or the person or anything. It's just lack of opportunities, like, for example, if you were
I agree. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I just don't know. Are there less men than women? I just don't know. It might be wrong. It might be that the Chinese one-child policy is behind us, and there's more girls even in Russia today than guys, because in general, people prefer having girls. So I think in China you can abort much more easily than in the West. So people would opt to have more girls. So it could be at this time that there's already more girls than boys. We never looked into it, so
I'll
we
just
don't
ask
know.
one last
Also,
question.
you have
When you're done.
wars all over the world. Don't forget it. You have wars everywhere, and men get killed in wars. Women don't die in wars. You have a war in Ukraine that's killing many Russian and Ukrainian guys and Russian and Ukrainian women are one of the most beautiful on this planet. So that should create an imbalance of extra beautiful women. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of variables in this game.
So can I
But I think
ask
in general, the more you allow for abortion, which is true for most of the world, the more you're going to get girls. People abort boys more than girls, as far as I know, by far. It's like 7-3 or something. People prefer girls much more than boys. No one wants boys. Everyone wants girls. Girls are much better children than boys. I mean, a boy is a nightmare, and a girl is an angel in general. A daughter is the best thing in the world, and a son is the worst thing in the world. A son is just, I think, is a disaster. It's a walking disaster.
Duh.
Yeah. Yeah, you would never want, if you could choose between having a son and a daughter, if you would be a rational person, you would never want to have a son. You're just asking for trouble. Whereas a daughter,
But I have a son, Slave.
I'm saying if you could choose right now between having a son or a daughter, so I think it's like 7-3. Most people by far prefer having daughters. Also, women prefer having daughters, and a lot of children are born to single women. And I think I think in the future, we're aiming at a future that has a little bit more, maybe a lot more women than men.
Even in that kind of future, it's going to be vice versa now. Not every woman. There's not going to be enough men for every woman. I'm just saying I don't believe in the concept of soulmates, because I don't know. I just don't think we're ever going to have a perfect ratio of a 1-to-1 ratio.
There's no soulmates because this universe is not run by anyone. This universe seems to be completely random. So of course there's no soulmates. I mean, you could find a girl that is just perfect for you. You just love her. It could happen. People, and don't forget the brain. One of the, that is my line of work. So the brain is what we call plastic. And the brain actually shapes itself to fit the environment. So the brain is designed to fall in love with whoever you're with. So give it time. Even not the most beautiful chick, you hang around her enough, you're gonna fall in love, and she will fall in love with you.
Oh wow! Wait. Okay, look, I just asked one last question. Okay, before we end this. Okay, so you think that the man who's bald, 400 pounds, very unattractive, you think he can go to the nightclub and get a girl? Like, not the best girl, but some girl, if he lowers his standards, you think he can get someone or not?
Yeah, but it's not just that. I mean, he can elevate himself, right? He can become a higher standard, what we call a higher value guy, just by, listening to Alex, some of the rules, and John.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, the rules are very simple. Like, look into their eyes. I mean, a lot of girls melt when you look into their eyes. If you're able to look into a girl's eyes, that has a lot of impact. If you're able to talk to them, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, of course. I mean, right? You have to compare apples to apples. Take the same guy, have him interact with a girl, looking into her eyes, and then have the same scenario with the same guy interacting with the same girl, not look into her eyes. Of course, she's going to enjoy more and be attracted more to the scenario where he looked into her eyes. We humans, especially women love when you look into their eyes. It's sexual. It's very sexual to look into a person's eyes.
Do they want to be sexual with an unattractive guy that they're not, physically desiring?
But what does that mean, unattractive guy? I mean, that doesn't mean
if the girl's a beautiful girl, why would she care if a big fat guy looked in her eyes?
Look again, the brain is plastic. If you're able to stick around her somehow, she will fall in love with you and you will fall in love with her. You just have to stick around somehow and, interact with her. You just have to figure out how to make her happy and stick around. And I don't think that's that difficult. You don't have to even be successful. You don't have to do many things in order to, be successful with girls. Because at the end, the girl doesn't care that you have money. The girl cares that she's going to be happy. So if you are able to demonstrate to her that you're aware of this, that you will always make her happy. And the first rule of making someone happy is you're never going to abandon her. If you're able to demonstrate to her you're not going to abandon her, you're never going to make her cry, you're never going to make her upset, you're never, if you're demonstrating to her that you're aware of her needs, her emotional needs, I think that's, you can be the poorest guy. You can live in a tent. You can be homeless.
Whoa.
Yeah, definitely.
Let me ask you this, Slave.
I know this is good, and we have 5 people watching, but I think if we don't cut this at one point, we're gonna go until I die. And
yeah, it's all right. We had a decent conversation, so it's all good.
Yeah, but I don't think I'm not saying anything new. This is, everyone says this. I don't think I'm saying something new.
It's kind of blue pill, so.
Yeah, I'm very, I used to be very red pilled in the beginning. I was red pilled before I listened to Alex. I was in the red pill community. I was basically MGTOW. And then I started listening to Alex and John, and I started realizing that MGTOW and the red pill is a lie. And, that's funny because in the movie The Matrix, the red pill is how you discover the truth. But then imagine Neo. I don't know if you saw the movie The Matrix. Imagine Neo then discovering that that the agents are the good guys and the rebellion, the humans, are the bad guys. Imagine that. I mean, that's how I feel. That in the beginning, of course, I began life being blue pilled, and then I became red pilled because I guess I listened to TFM. And then I listened to Alex and I realized, wow, TFM is an idiot. And the red pill is lies. And Rollo Tomasi is it's all lies. Just lies. It's not even false. It's just lies. It's just manipulation of statistics, of facts. Anyway, and then you discover, the blue pill was correct all along. You just have to be a nice guy. So even Alex is wrong, and even John is wrong.
All right, this will be a good place to continue next time you go live, Slave. This will be your continuing point.
Yeah. No, but the point is, I mean, ultimately the blue pill is correct. You just have to be dedicated. It doesn't matter if you have one girl or many girls. You just have to be dedicated to them. That's like Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate has many girls, and he makes them all feel that he loves them. And maybe he does. I don't know, but that's his. But he's actually very blue pilled. When he talks about women, he loves them and he supports them and he appreciates them and he respects them. He's like a Muslim, and so in that respect, I mean, he's also red pill. He understands the limitations of women. That's fine, but I think there's a lot to be learned from Andrew Tate in that respect. But if you just listen to a woman, just listen to what she says. They have nothing to lose. They're not lying to you when they say just be yourself and stuff like that. You have to really listen to what they say and really, really try. That's the deepest statement. And all women say this, right? They all say, just be yourself. That's the deepest, but that's ultimately what you have to do. It's the most difficult, but that's all you have to do. And that's the most important thing you have to do. Just be yourself. It's not just, it's a lifelong endeavor and struggle, but it's worth it. Anyway, and on that note, all right, guys.
All right. I'll just say to J-Rock that apparently I might be on Greg's channel soon to debate his friend about the Black Pill. If you wanted to check it out.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess we'll take the party over to Greg's then.
Yeah, I think he wants to do it quite soon as well. So yeah.
Terrific.
Okay, so for this channel though, this is where we will continue next time. We will talk about the blue pill and why, and we'll let Mr. Slave explain why he thinks he's got women figured out with the blue pill ideology. Okay.
Exactly. All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you for joining.
Okay.
I'm gonna end the broadcast. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.
Till next time. Thank you. Bye bye.